Oh, wait, no longer greatness has arrived. Welcome to episode 294 of The Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players. I'm your host, Joseph, aka Mr. Badbit, and it is here where me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest, the greatest in all things PlayStation. Of course, this week, we'll be chatting about those quite foggy small mountains. Does 30 frames really make a difference? Does PlayStation have the edge in the controller department? And the rumored PlayStation showcase in witness protection from themselves. So with all that said, with all that out of the way, the greatest co-host, whoever is, whoever will be, Mr. Kyle Stevenson, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I threw you for a loop for that little intro there.
I did. Honestly, can I get real with you for a sec, Kyle?
Yeah.
I did not read the intro this time. I just...
No, you didn't.
First time, not even practice. You
tell
reading
just
it
out loud, I realized I probably did a couple too many questions in there, but you know what? It's fine. It worked.
No, I liked it. This is great.
Yeah.
And honestly, Kyle, I just want to just give you a shout out before we begin. I've been working 12-hour days this whole week. Kyle came in. He did a bang-up job with the notes this week.
Oh, thank you. The least I could do.
Of course. I'm giving you your flowers, sir. So that being said, if there's any errors, blame Kyle. Don't yell at me.
I mean, sure. If you really want to get technical with it, you put all the stories in. I just did the questions and whatnot.
I mean,
so
give yourself a pat on
a little bit of error on your side.
Yeah,
maybe.
Fair enough. Mostly blame Kyle. Don't.
Okay, I'll take it.
There you go. And of course, with us, joining us this week, all the way from IGN, Mr. Tie Guy Travis. How are you, sir?
McClunky. Nice to be here, guys. Yeah. I like this. This podcast has a theme going. Like, Joe, you look like you're dressed up like Kyle for Halloween.
I love it.
Yeah. I try
my best. He's like, my culture is not your costume to you. He's very offended by you.
Yeah. It's like, how dare you? Yeah. My Irish jeans.
Yeah.
All right, Ty guys. So listen here, my man. I got a couple of questions from the audience to you to get to know you a little bit better. Of course, you're the main one of the main reviewers over at IGN. You're tasked with handling apparently all the middling games, maybe a Nerf Legends from here to there, maybe sometimes even a Tale Requiem, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yes, we will.
But we asked the audience, hey, let's get to know Ty Guy a little bit more. So my tainted brain writes in. He goes, Ty Guy Travis, always wearing ties. So what's your favorite knot? Simple, full, or half Windsor? Or maybe clip-on. Ooh, that's a great question.
That would be quite scandalous of me to wear a clip-on. No, it is not clip-on. I've never worn a clip-on tie.
There goes our breaking news.
Here's the receipts here. I got a little.
All right.
Oh, he even
can confirm, audio listeners, real tie.
But is it like one of those zipper tires? I've had one when I was young.
It's a full tie.
Okay.
And I keep it simple. I wear what is in America the working man's tie, which is called the 4-in-hand. It's one of the simplest tie knots possible. I wear it because I put on my tie without even really thinking about it, right? Yeah. And so that's my default. But I know over 18 tie knots by heart. And sometimes I'll mix them up if I'm at a fancy affair or something like that. The Windsor, the full Windsor, is kind of a fat knot. It's like a very specific look, and I stay away from that one unless I'm wearing the clothes for it, because I have a very small frame and a fat knot on me that kind of looks ridiculous.
It would make your head look very small.
It would make my head look tiny. Yeah. It's also
smaller than it already is, guys. It's
it's true. Actually, my head is abnormally large. People comment on my forehead space. I just have a big head. The full Windsor is also, fun fact, worn by a lot of authoritarians. A lot of them.
This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Putin wears it. Stalin, basically all of the dictators through history wore it, and for some reason Obama as well. That one doesn't really.
Let's be clear.
Yeah, he wore it. It looks good on him. Yeah. But yeah, it's that's what I wear. 4-in-hand.
Well, there you go. And here's another one. Ready? Have you heard this? Have you seen this? And why McClunky? At the start of the Bitcast. Now, if people don't know, you're also part of Season Gaming. They're Bitcast. Some people would say you carry the show. I would say you do.
Okay. All right. Why McClunky? So it's kind of a hilarious. maybe too much of an explanation for it is, but McClunky comes from Star Wars. For those of you who don't know, George Lucas, for many years before he sold to Disney, became obsessed with changing Star Wars after the films were made, especially the original trilogy, especially A New Hope. And right when he sold it to Disney, we all thought, okay, well, it's outside of the hands of Lucas, so he can't just change stuff on us for no reason anymore. That's good news, right? Wrong. Disney released the original trilogy on Disney Plus over a year after they acquired Star Wars, and it was the first time that we had seen the original trilogy released by Disney. And so we weren't sure what version we were going to get. Are we going to get the George Lucas version? Are they going to pull the originals out of the vault? What are we going to get? It turned out we got a third version that was not made by Disney. It included additional changes that George Lucas made right before he sold it to Disney. And it had some very bizarre changes, one of which was the Greedo versus Han Solo scene, which has already been changed by George Lucas to make Han Solo do a weird dodge and then, fire back on an enemy that fired at him first. Hashtag Han shot first. They added an additional line where it does a close-up of Greedo's face and he says McClunky, which is not subtitled. And then he shoots at Han Solo. And for those who don't know, McClunky in Huttese means this will be the end for you, which basically was Greedo just saying, hey, I'm about to kill you in case it wasn't clear that I'm the bad guy and you have every justification to shoot me. This is me ruining Han Solo's arc where he is a bad guy who learns to have a heart of gold throughout the movies. I'm just going to ruin that right now. So I was cracking up about that. The day that it came out on Disney Plus, I was one of the first people to see that version of the movie because I watched it as soon as it came out. And that day I happened to be recording an episode of Fireteam Chat, one of IGN's old shows that I used to be on for a number of years. And on that show, everyone has catchphrases. And at that time I was pretty new to the show and I didn't have one. And we were joking about McClunky the day it happened before the show. And I said in my mind, I'm going to say McClunky as my catchphrase and see what happens. And I said it and everyone was dying because they just were like, that's so stupid. And then it just became my thing. And now I have said McClunky so many times that if you look up McClunky, you get me as a Google search result.
That's awesome.
Yes. Alongside all of the other articles that are people going, why does he say McClunky? It's super weird. You get that and then you get me. It's like, it's very bizarre. So my name is associated with a very sad moment in Star Wars history.
I also love that you start the podcast, any podcast you do, with a
threat,
like a veiled threat. Yeah, exactly.
This will be the end for you guys. Yeah, totally.
It's been a good run, Joe.
Totally, yeah.
Been a good run. Been a good run indeed. All right, here's one more. This one comes from the Green Gorilla Gamer. He goes, question for Tie Guy Travis. Sup, bro? Sup? Haven't made your acquaintance, ... How old are you? Now, listen, if you're watching the video version, you think that this is not a man, it's a boy. But I can be assured, the way this man ties knots, he is at least 12 years old. 13.
At least 12. It's true.
Yeah.
I am actually, so Ains and the gang are easily in their late 40s, early 50s. They have to be somewhere that old. They're in the 40s. So to them, I am young because I am a millennial. But I'm actually not that young. I look a lot younger than I am. I'm 32 years old.
How are you older than me? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was.
That's some good genes.
I'm still older.
I was born in 1989, and if you want to see me looking older than I do now, you can watch me on episodes of Fireteam Chat when I was 65 pounds heavier than I am, because I looked much older. And then when COVID started, I started jogging 15 miles a day and I lost a ton of weight. And now I look like I'm young. So people look at me and they go, oh, he's in his mid 20s. I'm not. I'm 32. I've been around for a while. I'm not that young. So
honestly, that's a great compliment because you don't look like you don't look 32 at all. I look like I've aged quite a bit. Like I'm possibly
We've
43.
seen some shit.
I've seen some shit.
I mean, look at the episodes of Fireteam Chat. You will see a different person. I looked much older. And it's crazy what losing weight and getting your health together can do. But
okay, if I drop 100 pounds, maybe I look 25.
I'm telling you, it works. Also, I know you don't need this, Joe, but I think probably Kyle does. Guys, moisturize. Like, it's really not that hard. You got to remember to moisturize. Keep that youthful look. But I appreciate people always saying I look young. It's always very flattering. I'm not that young.
Well, here's something for you. He goes, apparently I make Joe and Kyle feel old, either though they're not, but I was born 3 days after the American release of Spider-Man.
That
What?
is, you are very young. So you were
Yeah.
born in the 90s, right? Or
Oh my
early
God.
2000s, is it? Early 2000s?
Yeah.
I want to say that movie came out like pre 9/11. So it was like either
Yeah.
1999 or 2000 or something. So
It was like the big blockbuster right afterwards, because you remember he was like,
no, right
he was-
before. I think
or-
so.
because they had that weird scene on the Brooklyn Bridge, like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us, and they're throwing
Oh, you're
like,
right. You're
wrenches.
right. You're right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So this guy who's messaging this is like 18 years old or something. He's like very young.
Young.
Yeah, I'm not that young guy. I worked in the games industry 10 years before I got to write for IGN. It is hard to
damn.
get in there. So anybody who is working for IGN, you can either guarantee that they're at least in their late 20s because you have to work to get a seat at the table, or they're hella talented, and I'll just never understand that kind of talent.
I mean,
you know.
I totally understand it.
Yeah.
That said, listen, we got a lot of PlayStation stuff to talk about, and I don't want to give Travis any more compliments than he deserves, though he's an amazing writer, and go check out his work over at IGN. That said, we do have a little bit of housekeeping before we start the show. First and foremost, Carpool Gaming / the Trophy Room / Save the Game Media Extra Life team. It's here. We're raising money for our good friend of the show, Miles, his hospital, the Stollery Children's Hospital in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So come join us. The game day is on November 5th. We'll be all streaming in Rome, New York. Throw some money our way. Every $10 that you're $10 and up gets you an entry to win a whole bunch of prizes, including the God of War Collector's Edition with Thor's hammer. That's a sound effect. So
was that the like the what is it, $1 Million Man sound effects?
Yeah,
is that what that was?
I try my best here.
It was either that or a sprinkler in someone's front lawn.
Something like that. But yeah, come join us. Link in the description. If you can't join us live there, you can donate right now. Again, every $10 gets you awesome stuff, and you help amazing children like Miles go through so much tumultuous things, but those, every dollar counts. It brings them the medical supplies that they need. So go help out Miles and kids like him over there. Extra Life, link down below. Also, rate the show 5 stars and you're entered to win a digital deluxe version of God of War Ragnarok. Please take a pic of it, of your Spotify review, because Spotify, you can't just go, and throw your name out there. And tweet at us at PS Trophy Room. You're entered to win. Rate us 5 stars over on Apple Podcasts. Share it to us. And even though, if you even still have entered prior, what is it?
Any
prior
past reviews we'll get you an entry for this one as well.
I'm ruining it, but you get the drift. So please toss us your 5-star review. It really does help the show. And you can tell that I've worked a 12-hour shift today. This is great. That being said, I want to share some amazing 5-star reviews that we've already gotten and a little bit of feedback from last week's show. So first and foremost, this comes from B_B76 over on Apple Podcasts. In Great Britain, they go, really enjoy this show. The presentators have a great rapport. You can tell that they are truly best friends. They love their job and show the love of both PlayStation and the world in general. This show has helped me go through some long night shifts and day walks while I get my baby some sleep. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And a little bit of feedback, because, last episode, I'm like, how do you guys like the voices? Be honest.
Oh, you were
my
asking
feelings.
how people like the voices, or you were just being like, hey, this one guy ruined it for me this episode?
Yeah, this one guy ruined it for me. Please give me some type of feedback, because imposter syndrome setting in. I want to shout out the Black Harry Potter, not to be confused with the Hispanic Harry Potter, who sent me a DM. They say, keep doing the voices, bro. Me and my wife love them. They're hilarious. And you're very good at the Arthur Morgan one. Well, by God, thank you very much, sir. Love you and Kyle. Y'all are excellent duo. Keep the voices. And honestly, I got dozens upon dozens of DMs and messages. Yeah. Thank you all for the kind words. That was very nice. All right. Last but not leastly, it's time for our Patreon pitch. Of course, If you like what we do here, the reason why we look so good, we sound so great, is because of your generosity over at patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. I want to thank our newest producers, Justin Rodriguez at the silver tier, who upgraded, and Rude Days 93 at the bronze tier. I want to thank our platinum producers, Todd Burwitz and Toxic. I want to thank our gold members, Too Soon, Gavin Gottfried, Jose Jimenez, Jedi Master Red, Metal Kirby, Stephen Flesh, Dawes Simon the Pie Man, Chaotic Monkey, Enigma, the Millennial Falcon Gaming, Seth Lord 92, and Strubles and Bits. I want to thank our Silver Plus members, Awesome Dave, Hide Indoors, Marcus O'Neill, JB the Purple Monkey, Jettis Von Metal, Tim Ulf, Justin Rodriguez, Cypher Primus, Captain Logan, Brenton Zachary, K Grim, Rick Arrington, Dewane Rockshow, The Good Sir, Mr. and Mrs. Nasty Boots, Drellish, Foolish Fuji, Any Day Now, Kevin Mitchell, Kevin Diaz, The Lord Commander Corgi, Elo 2032, Bubble Boy N7, Jesse Garcia, Hambone, The Aztec King, Stone Cold E.T., Astronaut Jr., not to be mistaken with Astronaut Senior, The Green Gorilla Gamer, Katie Stubbs, M9 Prime, Sean McKenzie, N. Johnson, Final Fan XZ, Enigma, Androzo, Ventate Tatted, N. Johnson, and Lamb Chop 93. Thank you all so much. Your generosity helps power the show. It keeps us looking good, makes us sounding great, all that good stuff. So if we ever got you through a long car ride, tough day at work, it's your generosity that powers the show. So thank you all so very much. Kyle, it is now finally time to square up the news.
First bit of news that needs to be squared up is from Matt Kim over at IGN. Matt writes, Silent Hill transmission, everything announced from today's big showcase. So here is what was unveiled. It started off with the Silent Hill 2 remake.
Wait, that started it off?
That was the first one that started, yes.
Okay, so real talk, before we get into this,
yeah,
right? I did not watch the showcase.
Mm-hmm.
I want to just preface that. Did any of you guys watch it as well, or you just watch the highlights?
I did. No, I watched it, yeah. It
was good.
Okay, great. This is weird, because to me, let's go step by step here. Let's just dissect it. To me, you would want to, like, save the possibly biggest reveal for last? It seems like it's pretty big.
It is a remake.
Yeah.
So I would say probably oldie but a goodie goes first. You know?
Okay, all right.
That'd be my suggestion.
Then take it away, Kyle.
Yeah, and I think it was a long rumor thing as well. So as rumored, Bloober Team is developing a full remake of Silent Hill 2 with the help of original Team Silent artists Masahiro Ito and composer Akira Yamaoka. The remake was announced for PlayStation 5. The remake will retell the story of James Sunderland, who is looking for his dead wife who sent him a mysterious letter from the town of Silent Hill. Konami and Bloober are promising a fully reworked game using new technology and delivered in 4K.
All right. So I know that there's like a couple of big takeaways from this remake. First and foremost, how did you guys like this trailer?
I have no prior history with the second game at all.
Okay.
Like, I played the demo of the first game and rented it a couple times from Blockbuster, and it's too big of a baby to get too far into it. So I just kind of gave up on the whole franchise. So I have no history. I know just how beloved this game is, and I feel like a lot of people that I look up to in the industry that talk about this game always talk about how great it is. One of the best horror games ever made. So a remake, I think, will do well for it.
So Travis, where are you here? Like, are you a Silent Hill fan? Are you a stan?
Yeah. I played all the Silent Hills that I know of, and I definitely played 2 back in the day, but I was at least a teenager when that game came out. I mean, it was a long time ago, and I watching the trailer, I was like, wow, I guess I don't remember this game that well, because I don't remember any of this. So I'm actually pretty excited to play it. It'll be kind of a new experience, which, to be fair, is the same way I felt about the Resident Evil 2 remake. I saw that when it was announced, and I was kind of like, oh, I don't really remember this game that well. And then when I played it, I was like, okay, cool. That was fun. Kind of a new experience. But as stuff was unraveling, I was kind of going, oh, yeah, I do remember this. The weird museum police station. That's kind of weird. I remember that. Stuff like that. So, yeah, I think I'm excited for it, man. I'll play this one for sure. Weird that it's a PlayStation exclusive, because I don't know if maybe 2 was, but yeah, that kind of
2 is PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2. Yeah. Well, was it on Xbox platforms or no? I think I played it on PlayStation, but I can't remember where it's on.
I do believe it was a PlayStation exclusive, if memory serves correct. But I know
Yeah, I
Kyle's
think
gonna
you're
fact
right.
check it.
I think you're right. Yeah.
That said, I'm not a.
It says it did come to Xbox eventually.
Okay,
Oh,
there
yeah,
you go.
naturally.
Yeah.
So for me,
Maybe this one will too. Who knows? It's hard to say these days.
at least 12 months, because that's
Yeah.
that's the exclusive window, at least for PlayStation. For me, I'm not a big Silent Hill fan, so like most of this showcase doesn't do, not to say anything for me, but it doesn't spark anything in me or any type of like real excitement. Just because I'm just such a newcomer to the series. I know that 2 is probably the most beloved of all the games in the franchise to most fans. So I'm interested seeing this trailer. It does strike me. It gives me a lot of the Resident Evil, 2 vibes as well, of like, this is the style of remake they're going for. You can see that these people had a mission. It was, let's get to Resident Evil 2 remake, and that's exactly what they're going for. So like, I'm in. Game looks creepy, but I'm not a diehard fan. I'd be lying if I was, or saying I was. But Bloober, they have a pedigree, and they're also a studio that's kind of outside my purview, at least in the horror genre. A lot of people are like these. A lot of people feel like Bloober's not up to the task, that their games don't hit that level outside of Layers of Fear to warrant them handling such a beloved IP. I want to throw this over to you, Travis. Your experience with Bloober, and do you think that they are up to this task, as it were, to remake this sequel?
I think so. I actually think that their team has a lot of talent, but I also say that as somebody who quite liked Layers of Fear, at least some of its concepts, and thought Layers of Fear 2 was a pretty interesting kind of sequel. But I'm wondering, what is the deal? What do they have a budget? What's their deal with the people that own the IP? I kind of just have a lot of questions like that, because I could see their team working with a larger budget, being able to take on something like this. And I'm always a big fan of giving smaller studios a chance, because I think bigger studios kind of lose the will to reinvent and take risks. I really like studios that can take risks, and the bigger you get, the less you can do that. So I think it could be a good fit, but I can understand why people who view Silent Hill 2 as a sacred cow don't want that to happen. They don't want to take a risk. But
Yeah.
to those people, I would just say, you can still play the old version of Silent Hill 2. This is something different. If you don't like it, you've lost nothing. You know what I mean? You can still go play the old version.
Twitter, Travis.
So I mean, I do all the time, which is why I have practically no followers. So I have no problem telling people what they don't want to hear. That's my job as a critic. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I give it a chance. The worst thing that can happen is that it's not that good of a remake, and then you just go back and play the old one. So yeah. I'm happy that they're giving it to a team that is maybe going to take more risks if the rights holders let them. That's a big question.
That's actually, yeah. This is why I wanted to have you on so bad, because your perspective is just, it's always so nuanced, which I love. Kyle, I'll go over to you here. You're a newbie when it comes to horror.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you just got into
horror
Resident
games.
Evil. Yeah. Like, you just got into Resident Evil. What was it, this year or last year?
It was during the pandemic.
Hoo-wee. So
that's a good time to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Deadly Disease. Yeah, I want to play a game about that. Yeah. So, bioweapon. All right, Kyle, are you willing to give this a shake? I know you don't know the pedigree of Bloober, but given how Resident Evil has kind of sucked you in, I assume that you're hyped for this game.
Yeah, I'm excited to give it a chance. Similar to my feelings with the RE2 remake. I know that was a beloved game for a lot of people, and same thing with this one. So I want to check it out. I want to know the history of, like, even as a non-Silent Hill fan, I would love to see the origin of Pyramid Head. I don't think he was in the first game. I think he was a Silent Hill 2 character. This is where he showed up first. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, I think Bloober is going to do a good job with it, because of, from this showcase, I think there were, if I remember the subtitles correctly, the Bloober is such a huge fan of
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2, and Konami were talking about how like a lot of teams came to them asking to work on a Silent Hill 2 remake, and Bloober stood above all the rest because they love this game. They have a passion for it. So any team, anybody that has a passion for something that wants to do right by it, I'm going to believe that they're going to do a great job with it.
Yeah. I mean, the medium was also such a heavily inspired
Mhm.
IP from Silent
Absolutely.
Hill.
And I think they also mentioned that they're working like pretty closely with the original Silent Hill people.
Yeah.
So like a lot of that teams.
For me, I come at it through kind of both of your guys' perspective. Working with the original crew as like, advisors too. That gives me hope that they're going to take some risks, but it's also going to be not with the approval, but the advice of the people that made it before or made it special, right? And then Travis, what you said as well, Bloober is a studio that, say what you will about their writing and maybe even technical prowess, but I think that a lot of that is tied into the budget that they have for these games. And I'm assuming if Sony and Konami are fitting the bill for this game to be made, that it is going to have quite a budget and that they are able to, kind of polish it out, make it something special, and kind of show why Bloober was given this opportunity in the first place. I think social media, and especially Twitter, when we air out our grievances about certain projects or certain things, we often look at it through such a, I don't know, pessimistic lens.
It's
where
myopic,
like,
at least. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, this team didn't I don't know, handle Blair Witch the way I wanted them to, so they can never touch anything ever again. And yeah, when it comes to like handling the sacred cow, Travis, you're right. If this game ends up being just a remake, it's an remake, and you get that, the quote unquote true experience over on probably PlayStation Now or whatever arcade experience you got on Xbox. So for me, I'm excited. I think they're going to be finally given the budget to show the world why they are who they are. So I'm on board with this, man.
Yeah, and you can also tell. I think the aside from playing their games, the way you can tell that they've got talent is every single game that they play or that they make. Somebody invests in them. Whether it's Microsoft saying, "Oh, Game Pass first." Remember that whole thing with their last game? It was like that was their big thing. They obviously footed the bill for that, and that tells me two things. One, when teams see their game and meet their team, they have faith enough in them to invest, and two, that they need investors because they wouldn't probably be doing any of these exclusive deals and Game Pass kind of deals unless they actually needed it. So I think they are ripe to get like a shot. And I'm rooting for them, as we all should be, I think.
Yeah.
And I think there was like rumors of them turning down an acquisition, wanting themselves to remain, independent is also something that we should be championing as well. They're like, no, we want to do this ourselves. We want to climb the ranks up the way we want to, not to be dictated by whoever.
You hear that, Bungie?
Yeah, you
hear that?
you traders. I'm only kidding. I love you. But like that's really awesome to see as well. Or them just going, no. We're gonna be primed for a bigger acquisition after we're done showing people what we can do with a Silent Hill, like akin to a Blue Point with Demon Souls. So for me, I like what I saw here. I like the trailer. It freaked me out towards the end, and so I was just like, okay, it's creeping me out. I think that's what this game's supposed to do. So I'm in.
Also, don't forget they're making Laser Fear 3 as well.
That's right.
So they got a lot of good horror stuff coming.
Yeah. Kyle, what's this next one here?
Silent Hill Townfall, which is a new spin-off developed by No Code Studios, who made Stories Untold and Observation. And
no
publisher
code,
and
apparently.
What was that?
With no code, apparently. They didn't write any code for those games.
That's right. They're just they willed it into existence.
Yeah.
I see what you tried to do there, Travis.
And publisher Annapurna Interactive. This new project will be a unique take on the Silent Hill franchise from a highly decorated AA developer.
In truth, I did not see this. I was actually, when I was trying to go through the highlights, I didn't see Townfall at all. And so I know that this was rumored for quite a bit. And so I was kind of surprised. So me not having seen this trailer, Kyle, you're a huge
Yes?
Annapurna slut. I could say
Whoa,
that.
whoa,
Yeah, no, you're like Annapurna.
whoa.
Let me take my top off.
Whew.
Should I have beeped it out? I don't know. Again, I worked 12 hours. It's been a day. Are you sold on this? Because you love the indies. You love a good
I love a
Annapurna.
good indie. Yeah, I do like what Annapurna does. I'm intrigued by it. It gives me Firewatch vibes because everything the trailer was very much through like a old FM radio kind of thing
Oh, okay.
and transmission. So I don't know if it's going to be like a. I don't think there's going to be any like combat in it. It might just be like a spooky narrative based kind of thing.
So the team No Code, the last games they made were Observation
Yeah,
and
the story's
Stories
untold.
Untold.
Right?
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right. So those, I know Observation didn't have any. It had gameplay, but not combat. So
Sure.
that was the one with the chicken, right? Am I remembering
I
that
don't-
right?
I
The
don't know.
space
I know
chicken.
Observation. Wasn't that also a
The
horror
space.
game, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah.
Mhm.
Space one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you're watching like recordings of
Oh,
this
that's right.
horrible
Yeah.
incident that has happened at the station, and you're
Yep.
trying to piece it together.
I was
Thank
thinking
you.
Observer, which is a different one.
Observer is not this game. Yeah, I
Yes,
also
no,
thought
no,
about
no.
that for a second. No, yeah, I think I also like Annapurna. So
Yeah.
I like this
Okay.
game. They do weird things. I like studios that do weird things.
Yes.
Exactly, and I feel like really the thing that sells me here is Annapurna, knowing that they are gonna do something that is just strange with an IP that's also very
Very
strange.
strange. True.
Yeah.
True.
So I like this. I already sense that there's a lot of scope that they're going with. They're going big remake AAA experience to like this AA, maybe more indie level thing.
Mhm.
Actually, that really excites me. I've even seen the trailer. I'm like, Annapurna sold.
Annapurna.
Yeah.
Annapurna, Weird World. I don't think that they've done a lot of licensed stuff, which is pretty interesting for me.
That's
This is
right.
technically a licensed deal, so
Mhm.
interesting.
All right, Kyle. Let's talk about this next one here. This
This
one I
next-
saw. This
This
one I
one
saw.
ended the showcase.
Okay.
Silent Hill F. Another new spin-off announces Silent Hill F, set in 1960s Japan. This narrative-driven spin-off will be written by acclaimed Japanese writer Ryukishi 07, who created visual novels like Higurashi and Yumineko, I think is how you say it.
Nailed
The
it.
spin-off will juxtapose a beautiful and terrifying world and focus on the psychological, supernatural mysteries of Silent Hill.
Okay, this I saw, and this honestly, I'm incredibly intrigued. It gives me, for some reason, Midsummer vibes, especially towards
Ooh.
the end. There's a lot of like just this girl running through this creepy looking just abandoned hallway where there's vines and things growing out of
that
it.
part though I laughed at because
really?
that character, right, she's walking very slowly,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden she gets grabbed, then she decides to run.
I mean,
Like,
what happens?
just
if you
run from the get-go. I don't know.
I mean, listen, if I'm just walking through the woods and I get grabbed, I'm
No, I agree.
and I'm
but
booking it, Kyle.
She was walking up a staircase with those things coming out, and then it touches her, and then she sprints. I don't know. I'd be running the whole time.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Travis, would you be running the whole time, or you want to be skulking, checking it out?
I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think I would run. If I saw something that seemed supernatural, my first instinct would not be to assume that I've discovered ghosts or the undead or anything. It would be to assume that I am going insane, and so I would need to investigate to know, okay, what's wrong with me. And so, yeah, I would probably run right toward the fight, and then maybe
Nice.
get to the conclusion a little sooner.
You're way braver than I am.
I'm booking it the opposite direction.
I'm just way more confident that the supernatural isn't a real thing. So I would be like, all right, well, if that exists, you know, I've lost it. It's my brain is the problem, right?
Well, like if I get grabbed by a vine, I'm like I'm fighting like an evil plant. Like there's something going awry, and I'm booking. It's not even like supernatural. It's just like
I mean,
I'm right there with you. I don't believe in
moving?
specters
I
or
don't
ghouls or
know.
goblins. But if I get touched by something I shouldn't be, like a vine, I'm booking it. I don't want to find out.
All right. There you go.
I do not want. And I will go see a therapist or a psychologist after the fact. But I'm not. I'm always about living and staying alive. And if I sense a danger, I'm out. But that aside, this trailer had me unsettled. And towards the very end, again, like that, it gave me the ending of Midsummer right in front of me. I was just like, no, I don't like this, but in the best way. So
There's
I was
some great
totally
imagery
sold on this
for sure.
Yeah, Travis, what about you, man? Were you sold on this trailer, or are you still?
Yeah, no. So you asked at the beginning why they would open up with Resident Evil 2 remake, and I think that this is the answer. You obviously you put your second best thing first, and you put your first best thing last, and I think this was the best thing that they showed. So yeah, I'm super excited for this brand new thing. I think the setting is super weird. I've seen too much of Japan recently, but it's okay. It's 1960s. It's at least a little bit of a weirder period. And I'm interested in it. So yeah, I think this was. There's a reason that they showed this last. Looks great.
What do you think this game's gonna look like, Travis?
I have no idea.
No, right? It's one of those purely CGI, get you hyped on the theme of this game, but show nothing else.
I at first didn't think it was even a game. I thought it was just like a short they made to celebrate Silent Hill at the end.
I think I would have to guess that if it's a named Silent Hill game, that's going to have something in common, maybe third person or first person kind of exploration game, horror, maybe something similar to the game that was promised, PT RIP.
Oh,
who knows? Something like that. Who knows?
I guarantee there's a question about PT as we get later on in this show for sure, because I'd love to dive into that. But for me, I am thinking Outlast. At least with one of these games that I'm getting Outlast vibes. Maybe that's the Annapurna joint, but like this one where it's just I'm running, there's no gunning. I think I'm running for my life here. Kyle, what say you? You're looking at this game first. Are you interested, intrigued, and what do you think this game's gonna be?
Intrigued for sure, but I have a feeling it might be more in line with the writer's past things with visual novels and whatnot.
Okay.
I think you're going to go along for the ride and not, I don't think you're going to be battling anything supernatural again, like combat wise. Fair. I think it might just be like a, mess with your brain as you sit back and experience the story.
Right.
Yeah.
And we got two more here on the list, Kyle.
Yes, we do. Silent Hill Ascension, potentially the most unique announcement from the transmission. Konami announced Silent Hill Ascension, an immersive project where participants around the world will control the characters in a new Silent Hill story. Basically, a Let's Play Pokemon version of a new Silent Hill story that will be live on multiple platforms. Silent Hill Ascension is a collaboration between Genvid Entertainment, Bad Robot Games, Behavior Interactive, and DJ2 Entertainment.
Intriguing, but I saw nothing out of that trailer that, like, I think this little boilerplate actually has me more excited than what I saw in that trailer.
Yeah, I think they did a bad job showcasing this, but the idea of like a one of those movie theaters where everybody's screaming at the TV in a horror film, I like that as an idea for a game, and it seems kind of like what it is. So don't go in there, and then you can vote to not go in there.
Like a Jackbox party pack of murder.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So I'm super down for that.
Yeah, I'm into this as well. It reminds me of an indie game coming out hopefully early next year called Ghost. Jed Shepard, writer of the horror movie Host, is doing one where you are like in the production booth of
all of his stuff rhymes.
Yeah, exactly. You're in like a production booth where you have to use the cameras for a ghost hunting show, and like you can only play the game at like 10 p.m. at night. That's the only time you can access it, and it's real time. It's the actors, it's FMV stuff. So it reminds me a lot like that, and that's intriguing to me because I think that works very well with like horror stuff.
So for me, again, I think the boilerplate has me more excited because the way that you guys are describing it to me, where it's just like, it's like me and a group of my friends like having that party moment of like, don't go in that room, and we choose not to, and then something awful happens because of it. That has me excited.
It's like a supermassive like Until Dawn when you play with Twitch chat or something like that.
Yeah, I dig this, and it'll probably be like Twitch enabled. One would assume.
Oh yeah, I would imagine.
Okay, the last one, Kyle.
Last one. Yeah,
you can't have a video game showcase without an announcement of a movie attached. So take it away.
Return to Silent Hill. Christopher Gans, the director of the first Silent Hill movie, is making a third movie in the series with Return to Silent Hill. Details are being kept under wraps for now, but Konami is promising more information about the project at a later date.
Rad. Okay.
I just love how they went back to the original director. Like what?
Travis, you have a
16 years later or whatever it was.
Yeah, you have a questionable look on you.
A shit-eating grin, I think it's called.
Shit-eating grin. What's that all about?
This stuff just annoys. It just bothers me. Movies. I only have one thing to say to you. Movies.
Okay.
You're boring.
Oh,
that's all I have to say. I don't know. I think it doesn't really. It feels to me like it cheapens an industry that I feel is elevated beyond movies and is a better medium. And so this sort of stuff, I'm always just like, all right, fine. For the people who want that, it's okay.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, I don't care.
Yeah. For me, I don't have the love for Silent Hill or the nostalgia or even the knowledge of the first. I didn't know there was more than one Silent Hill movie. I'll be honest. So. For me, it's
I was shocked that they kept talking about how good the original movie was. I don't remember it being that great.
That's always a great sign.
Yeah.
That said, Matthew Kennedy writes in, "Hey gentlemen, I was never a huge Silent Hill fan. Resident Evil, in my opinion, dominated the survival horror scene, and the last Silent Hill game I believe was Book of Memories and it was a Vita exclusive, which I don't even recall if I played or not. But then came PT. See, I knew it. I knew someone was going to write in about this. Anyway, PT, the demo for Silent Hills, was the revival of the series that the series desperately needed. And then someone basically flipped the switch. PS5s are jailbroken for this demo. Could we see that switch flipped back in the Silent Hill showcase? Oh, we didn't. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Are you guys Silent Hill fans? We just answered that. Sorry, Matthew Kennedy. That's my fault. And just please, God, don't let it be another pachinko machine. First off,
so we're good. None of that.
No pachinko machines. Are we? What are we feeling here on the lack of, I guess, a game similar or akin to PT?
Sure. Well, like, are we going to be in a future where they are going to flip that switch again, and are we going to have access to PT, or it's probably gone forever?
Gone forever.
I think it's gone forever.
Yeah.
But I would be shocked if at least one of these Silent Hill games wasn't very clearly like nodding toward PT in terms of its play style, because that was one of the most popular things to come out on the current generation of consoles, and it didn't even come out really. It was just a demo. So I would be shocked if this didn't have some sort of. I mean, PT was so popular. Resident Evil kind of changed its whole games to be more like PT. So I just. I would be shocked if it wasn't.
So I got a question for you, Travis. Do you think Konami's kicking themselves at this point for the lack of like that Kojima project? Or do you think that they're just so disconnected and jaded they don't care?
I think that, I don't know if it's jaded, but it's certainly video games are not how they make their money anymore. And Kojima is a big personality from what I know of working, the people who've worked with him. And he's also a big bet. You have to put a lot of money in his projects for a lot of years in the hopes that he's just a genius that you don't understand, who can just create, an alchemist's miracle. And he does almost always. I mean, I didn't really like Death Stranding, but that's just
whoa. Slow to the roll.
I mean, it's basically just an expensive monster ad. But a
great monster ad, damn it.
Is it? Drink Monster, you too can, starve in the waste.
You can weaponize your pee.
Exactly.
Yeah, you weaponize your pee.
And who doesn't want to do that?
But I think that for a lot of reasons it probably wasn't a fit. Konami is not really in an adverse is not a company that embraces risk, which you sort of have to do if you work in a creative space. And I think so now what they're doing is they're using all of their IPs that they know have market power and that they can make money off of, and they're taking small bets by making smaller games. A lot of indie studios making their games. They're not building the infrastructure to make these games themselves. They're not building them internally. A lot of them are outsourced and that sort of thing. And I think if you want to make something ambitious, if you want to make something that changes the industry, you have to take really big risks. And I think Konami is no longer a company that wants to do that.
Yeah, and I think you're right. As they enter back into the video game space, I think seeing the slew of Silent Hill announcements kind of shows you that they are getting back into this space, but I don't know how. I think they're taking safe bets, if that makes any sense, as they enter back into the industry, rather than going, okay, so here's this, really ambitious, crazy thing that we thought of. I think you see that with them going to go with a remake to start off of a beloved title, seeing them go with a double A, indie like experience. And who knows what that, Bad Robot production, I think probably is one of the riskiest, productions. But out of that, I'm like, yeah, I could see them kind of, not to say dipping their toe in, but dipping their foot in to see if they still have it, if that makes any sense. Kyle, what say you? And actually, I'll change the question a little bit. Are we surprised that we haven't gotten that true PT game? Like, we haven't seen someone tap Kojima and go, listen, Death Stranding, okay, we get it. But, like, what were you doing with PT? Can we bring Guillermo back in? But, like, for real this time. Not just his digital body, but his voice and his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever get the Kojima PT game ever, or a thing of that
caliber.
Yeah, that genre. I think Kojima will obviously use that tech and that storytelling devices, but I don't know if it's going to be like a one-to-one PT sequel, quote unquote,
Fair enough.
or successor. Yeah.
All right. Well, then last question for Silent Hill. This comes from Awesome Dave. They write in, it's been a while since I dropped it. Oh, come on. See, why can't someone give us 2 stars because of the language that Awesome Dave drops?
Because they love when you read these words.
I dropped a banger of a sweet num-num of a question. Come on. You can't just, it's lazy at that point. It's lazy. Do you think we are in a horror game renaissance with Callisto Protocol, Dead Space, Silent Hill? It would seem like we are. And are there any other franchises that you would love to see return into this golden age? Honestly, I don't know, because I am also such a noob to the horror genre in games. Like, I still consider myself fresh in it. So, like, for me, I'm just happy that I have Callisto. I'm happy that I have Dead Space. And everything else is just a bonus. What about you, Travis?
I think we live in a golden age of games in general, and I think that people who perceive the golden age as being horror games, that's simply because they're not used to seeing as many. But if you actually look at how many games are new, it's not that many. Resident Evil's still making new games. That's great. Callisto Protocol is new, but we are seeing a lot of remakes. Dead Space is a remake. It's not really a new, fresh kind of horror take. The Silent Hills, with the exception of the other games that they announced that we haven't really seen much of, we know that we're getting a lot of remakes. So I would say just in general, we get a lot of games now, and that's awesome. And if you're a horror fan, you probably have more options now than you ever have. But I don't know if it is unique to the horror genre. I just think there's lots of games out there. As for the second part of the question, what ones would I like to see come back? My answer is, and always has been, Condemned. I would love to see Condemned come back. However,
Yes.
Condemned was acquired when that company went out of business by an individual who has posted on Twitter several times that he owns the rights to Condemned, and he's asked people what he should do with that. And I have no idea if that person will ever let that franchise see the light of day. When companies go out of business, they have yard sales for the IPs, and sometimes they end up in really weird people's hands. And in this case,
it's like the guy that now owns the Radio Shack handle.
Yeah, it's just some guy owns Condemned, and it's really weird. It will probably not be that. I also really like The Evil Within, and would like to see that to get a third one as well. I reviewed the second one, and I really came away impressed by it.
What say you, Kyle?
I'm new to the whole horror game genre, so I can't think of any franchises off the top of my head I want back, but like just keep going with like new interesting things within these IP. Like I want to see Resident Evil get weird again. I want the Baker residence from RE7 without all that end stuff. Like, let me just stay in the Baker mansion.
Right.
I like that kind of stuff. Like
Okay.
that's what I'm looking forward to.
Did you like Village?
Not really. There were parts like I love the dollhouse biome.
Yeah. So I did a
Buzzword of the
preview for IGN on the new DLC they're coming out with, which is
okay.
the Winters expansion, where
Yep.
you play Ethan Winters' daughter as a teenager.
Yeah.
And that has a very much like you're in one building, at least the part that I played, you're in one building and you're solving puzzles and you're running away from things and that sort of thing. So
Sweet.
maybe that'd be more your speed.
I'm excited to try a Village out in that third person mode.
Yeah, I
think
will
that'd be
say the
fun,
third
too.
person mode felt very organic. In fact, it wasn't until like 5 minutes in that I remembered Village wasn't in third person. I was
Oh,
like,
that's
I was,
great.
I was like, oh right, this is actually totally new. I kind
Yeah.
of forgot about that. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's interesting.
For me, I'm just surprised that we have Callisto Protocol in our fantasy league. Sean Capri doesn't, and he will lose, and that's the only thing that I take away from this entire question.
You guys
Sean
do
Capri
fantasy football, where basically you draft games and then you get points based on their Metacritic rating.
Yep. Open Critic, yeah.
Open
Yeah,
Critic.
yeah. We have
Yeah,
so
you got to do Open Critic.
get this. Get this now.
Yeah.
We have Bayonetta 3 and we have God of War Ragnarok.
Oh,
And
there.
Plague Tale.
And Plague Tale. Our opponents do not have any of those things.
What do they have though? Because they're probably
They have
better
like
games
Final
than most coming out
Fantasy,
this year.
the
Crisis Core.
and then something else. I forget.
They have Midnight Suns.
Oh, Midnight Suns.
I
There
bet
you go.
Midnight Suns will be a 9. Will be like a
You think so?
high 80s, low 90s. Yeah, because the thing is that game looks terrible, and the reason it looks terrible is because the studio that's promoting it has no idea what game they're having made on their behalf. But the developers that are making the game are incredibly talented and have
Yes.
never made a
Yes.
bad game. And
Yes,
so I
they
think
are.
that they're making a great game that the studio doesn't know how to promote. Which is very clear if you look at any of the trailers, which all convince you that the game is a action third-person adventure game, and it is definitely not that.
It
And
is
so-
definitely XCOM.
Yeah,
with
it is
cards.
definitely
Yeah.
XCOM with recognizable characters, but I don't think that the publisher that's creating those ads knows that. And so I think it's going to be one of those ones where nobody is expecting it, and then it comes out and they're like, oh damn.
Honestly,
Oh, damn.
that's the only one in their whole fantasy league at this point that we're nervous about.
What
and
about
they're
Mario
only
plus Rabbids?
well, they
can-
have
Oh.
Mario plus Rabbids, but
Okay, then that's-
even with Mario
yeah.
plus Rabbids, they're only 4 points ahead of us. Yeah.
I think it's going to be closer than you think.
I think it's going to be pretty close, but I think we're going to edge them out.
Okay, all right.
I don't think they have a goddamn chance, to be honest.
We'll see.
All right, we'll see. Look at Sean. At least Travis is in your corner. Kyle, it's time though to get into some rumors, speculation, and things that are probably untrue. Take it away, good sir.
Ryan Saeed from IGN writes, Sony PlayStation Showcase 2022 delayed, likely due to ongoing Microsoft Activision investigation, a report. Sony's PlayStation Showcase this year will reportedly be delayed because of the ongoing CMA investigation regarding Microsoft's acquisition of Activision. The event is supposedly delayed because Sony believes it may strengthen Microsoft's arguments to the regulators. According to known industry insider Millie A., the event was set to showcase exclusive titles and first-party IPs. Sony was reportedly set to announce the showcase on October 11th, with the event taking place on October 20th. A Silent Hill reveal and announcement about Hideo Kojima's upcoming project were also part of the showcase. However, it seems like the event will not take place this month. Instead, it has been delayed to a later date. Quote, the ongoing CMA investigation for Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard has indeed delayed any showcase plans for Sony, Millier wrote on Twitter. Exclusive titles and first-party IP were locked in. Sony believes a showcase will add weight to Microsoft arguments. Silent Hill and Kojima's Who Am I reveal were a part of the show. The initial announcement of the showcase was scheduled for October 11th, with the showcase taking place on October 20th. Sony holding firm for now, end quote, the insider reported. Addressing the PlayStation Showcase rumors, Tom Henderson, who is another reputable insider, said that he doesn't think any insider or journalist has any idea when the event is actually happening. All the rumors floating around about when the event will be held are predictions based on previous iterations of the event, other upcoming events, and embargo dates. He added that it makes sense to hold the event by the end of the year, what with all the upcoming releases and the PSVR 2 launch.
Okay. Everyone, be patient.
We realize you're hungry.
I'm starving. I get it.
Relax.
But it's kind of like, when you're on that road trip and you really want that one thing, like it's a Cracker Barrel. You've never been to Cracker Barrel. You know that there's some in Georgia. You're on the state goddamn line. Just don't go for the Hardee's. Wait for the Cracker Barrel exit. It's probably just 2 exits away. Just relax. Stay calm. Everything's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I don't know about you, Travis, but when I hear according to known industry insider, that line to me is just like, this is probably fake.
Yeah. I've never heard of Millier before.
Is it Allier's cousin? Who knows? Travis, what do you make of insiders' claims and all that stuff?
Well, I've had the good fortune of working alongside a lot of really tenured and honest and thorough reporters like Matt Kim. Shout out to him, who wrote the last article you guys were quoting. Mm-hmm. He's a great friend,
and a great writer,
a great investigator. He's got real journalism chops. For those who don't know, I don't call myself a games journalist. I call myself a critic. I don't do the hard work of journalism, and so I would never describe myself as such. But I really respect the people who do. And so when I read an article like that seems like it's been investigated and has sources and that sort of thing, I tend to believe it. This is, of course, a rumor, and it's labeled as such. And so if you have any internet literacy, you'll know that
which we've been learning a lot about the past few days.
Exactly. You will know that you should probably take it with a grain of salt, which is why it's marked as rumor.
Yeah.
So, I give it not zero credence. This sounds like something maybe that would happen. I am sad that it's happening if it's true, because I think that once you start doing political positioning and posturing for the sake of helping your company at the expense of the customers that you exist to serve, I think that you probably have a problem with the way you're running your business. But I will give Sony the benefit of the doubt. I think they're a good company who, generally speaking, knows what they're doing. And I will choose to believe that either this isn't true or it is true, and they have reason to believe that what they're saying is in the best interest of their customers, not just in the best interest of them, which is how it certainly comes off to.
Yeah. And I think you danced around the first question rather well, so I'll just put it in here. Jedi Master N writes, do you believe the rumors that PlayStation is canceling their showcase due to the battle between Microsoft acquiring Activision? If so, it seems like a huge misstep on their part to let an outside entity affect what they're doing and how they're promoting their games to their own audience. ...
It's very well put. I would say, yes, I believe it. I think that this is something that absolutely would happen. I'm giving them benefit of the doubt. I hope it's not. I'm not going to say, damn you, Sony, based on a rumor, but I would say, me personally, I think it's probably something they're doing. And to that person's point, that commenter's point, if you are acting only in response to things that other people are doing, you're already losing. That's not how companies should run. They should stand for something, and they should make decisions based off of their beliefs rather than in response to what other people are doing. I also think it's a pretty disingenuous argument they're making in general about the acquisition and how much it would hurt their business, since they are the market leader by a lot. And and some of the stuff they're saying is clearly posturing. And so I would just say that I don't like acquisitions either, but Activision is a bloated corpse that probably needed to be destroyed by someone. And so I don't really care if that's Microsoft. It's the rich devouring the rich in my mind. And so I don't care about it. But I this whole thing bothers me. I really don't like it when companies make decisions based on stuff like this. Like, you should do everything for the purpose of serving your customer if you are a consumer facing business. And it doesn't feel like they're doing that here, if it's true.
Yeah, if it's true. And to me, I doubt it. Just because of what we just were talking about earlier. Silent Hill. You open up with a game that is a exclusive or timed exclusive for your console, and how hypocritical that makes PlayStation look on the openly is just it. I mean, it's not even shocking at this point, right? Like, we know what Sony's doing and how they do it, and their strategy of purchasing timed exclusivity or quests that you get in games. We beat that horse all the time. But like when I see Silent Hill, 2 remake, when I see what we're going to see out of Resident Evil, their showcase being hosted by PlayStation, you're just seeing a lot of stuff that already would make Sony look hypocritical in the eyes of the CMA. So I don't know what a huge, mostly first party showcase would do to them or hurt them in any which way. And I also agree with you, Travis. If PlayStation's doing these things because they don't want the CMA to, look at them the same way they're looking at Microsoft, it is really foolish. You are losing if that is the case indeed. So to me, I see the recent announcements, and I can already, if I'm a lawyer, go and point at that as evidence of, look at what they do and look at what they have done with things like, Final Fantasy VII Remake in the lot. So to me, I don't see, this insider holding much weight of like, no, Silent Hill was going to be at this first party showcase, where like Tom Henderson said is like, no, or, oh, actually, no, Jeff Grubb said is like, this was always going to be a showcase on Konami's part, not Sony's. This was always going to be a Silent Hill showcase, not a PlayStation showcase. And I think what Tom Henderson points to is PSVR 2's launch, it being in the first fiscal half of 2023. I think then it does make sense that this showcase is a few weeks away, and they're waiting so that they can showcase PSVR 2 and all of their games that they're working on with it. So that's kind of my take from this. I don't see these rumors holding any weight. Kyle, what say you?
Yeah, I agree. You both said it perfectly. I don't think this rumor is true. And like a joke answer would be like, Sony would not give us 9 days notice. They give us maybe upwards of maybe 4 or 5 of a showcase. 9 days is a weird number of lead time before a showcase. But yeah, I don't think they'll show it whenever they show it. I don't think there's any other ulterior motives, or at least I would, like Travis was saying, at least I want to believe that there's no ulterior motives to holding it off.
Yeah. All right. Look at us all agreeing to things. This is nice.
I mean, no, I just to be clear, I think it is true.
You do think it's true?
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, but I think this is actually happening.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's just, I'm not going to act and base my judgments on Sony based on a rumor. But to me personally, asking me personally, hey Travis, do you think it's true? That sounds like exactly like something that would happen at this point in time. And
I get it. Yeah, it does sound like
to me. I'm just like, that sounds like maybe they're doing something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They've definitely done weirder stuff at this point.
To me, seeing like all the community managers and teams gather around the past few weeks, I could see that that's Sony's teams coming to each other, showing off their trailers, organizing that showcase behind closed doors, akin to what Xbox did with, I believe, Gamescom before they showed off whatever they were showing off. They're like, oh no, sorry, E3. Weeks prior, they're like, here's all the teams looking at the first cut of the showcase. I think that's what was happening again, like just 2-ish weeks ago with like, Naughty Dog and Insomniac and all those teams gathering around. So to me, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, and I think this is false. I don't.
Okay.
But when you say that, Travis, as well, like, I wouldn't put it past Jim.
Yeah, it's just I'm more of like a hope for the best and prepare for the worst type of thing. And so like when it comes to large corporations, I always assume that they're Alexa's answering questions for me right now.
Oh. She's becoming sentient.
Echo.
Jeff Bezos knows. There you go. Oh, no cussing on the show. Only kidding. Go for it.
Sorry. I muted myself first, and I forgot I didn't mute myself in Zencaster. So, whoops.
Whoops. Oh, really? That wasn't
Can you bleep me in post? This isn't live, right? There we go.
Go for it. I don't know.
Okay.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Sorry.
Tim
I literally clicked mute on myself on Discord, and then I told her to shut up, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm on Zencaster. My audio is coming through a different source." So yeah, sorry about that.
Anyway, Green Gorilla Gamer writes in. He says, "Sup, boys." Although people are doubting that PlayStation Showcase may not happen, Insomniac did make a statement saying that Spider-Man 2 is still on track for 2023, and since these are still rumors, there is no reason to doubt that Sony won't pull a last-minute showcase out of the hat before Ragnarok releases, with everything we want to see from it and more. So with that in mind, if Sony doesn't do a showcase before Ragnarok releases, do you think that's that their window is limited here? If we don't get a showcase before then, that might reflect poorly on the future of 2023 gaming looks like for Sony first-party studios. I'm going to be honest. At this point, I don't think you're getting a showcase before Ragnarok. I think now everything is ramping up just for Ragnarok. I don't even think you're going to get a big state of play on God of War Ragnarok either. I think they're going to hype the cycle for Ragnarok. It's going to come out. It's going to probably sell a bajillion copies. And then a few weeks afterwards, we'll probably see something state of play, future showcase related, because I am thinking of PSVR 2. I'm thinking of the same way like the Nintendo Switch dropped, right? They showed you this weird trailer back in November, and then they showed you the console in January, and then it was out in February or March. And I think that's what we're going to see here, where you're going to get Ragnarok, you're going to get a glimpse of the future at Jeff Keighley's show, and probably early January, you're going to see a showcase coming out of PlayStation. That's what I think you're going to see. I don't know. Well, what about you, Travis? You're nodding your head in I hope agreement.
I'm not sure. PlayStation has been very murky in terms of their when they do things, and I think they've had a interesting pivot post COVID. Like they had a formula that was working for them for a while, and then it started to not work near the end of E3, and then they've sort of tried a few different models. But I sort of wonder if they just go the route of Nintendo now that they've solidified their position as market leader, and they just sort of do incongruent showcases of games whenever they feel like it, and everybody just sort of shows up for them because they're Sony. I could see that. I don't have a problem with that either. Although I hope that they come back to E3. I don't know if you guys have ever been, but it was like such a better show when Sony was just like there flexing on everyone, because they would like rent out a huge part of the showcase and they would just show up with their boys, and you were like, oh damn, this is a real. And then when they stopped doing E3 and EA went across the street and that sort of stuff, it sort of started to feel like, oh, it's Xbox, sometimes Nintendo, not so much near the end, and then like all of the third-party studios, and it just felt a lot different without having them there, because
the parents got divorced.
They're the market leaders, and I mean it's weird because they're a part of the ESA, like they're on the board, they make up part of that organization, and so it's just weird to have them not participating in their own creation. So I hope they go back to it.
What say you, Kyle? Are we seeing a showcase this year, or is all is doomed?
No, we are.
Okay.
For some reason, I'm seeing a mid-November showcase before Black Friday, after Ragnarok.
Okay.
I'll be like, hey, Ragnarok's out. Look at all these cool things that we're saying, all these review scores, how great it is, blah, 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 blah. Also, like, here's the reason why on Black Friday you should go out and get a PlayStation 5, because here's what's coming in the future. Okay. And then PSVR 2, Spider-Man 2, maybe a glimpse at Wolverine, Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
All these things coming to PlayStation next year, quote unquote. So like it just makes too much sense to do it sooner rather than later.
I will say that October, listen, there's still time. I'll say I'll be even great. Perhaps, we talk about Final Fantasy 16, that director going, the trailer's up, we just gotta wait. wait for something. I don't know. Showcase. So who knows? Maybe we're all full of crap and it comes out end of October. But as we're getting closer and closer, as we're getting all these big releases starting to just ramp up, I don't know where you fit a showcase in any of it. But I don't know. Hopefully we'll see something pretty soon.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
I think, and I also think it works to their advantage to delay as long as possible because of the acquisition moves they're making. So we'll see.
Ooh, what Sony's making or Xbox is making?
Just in general, both of them.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know if you want to go super hard with a showcase and show how awesome you are right after you increase the price of your consoles and do all that.
Hey, relax. Remember what show you're on, okay? How dare you come out with the truth?
Friends are honest with each other,
We're friends?
Yeah. No, I mean me and PlayStation. I consider myself a friend with PlayStation. So. I mean, we're
you
all,
just got McClunkied.
Yeah, this is the end of it. No, I mean obviously we're friends, but I just mean like when you love something, you have to be its harshest critic, and I'm a PlayStation fan, so I am harsh on them when they deserve it. I think that's
I think what you're saying is incredibly valid. Like, let's just say those rumors are correct. There's weight to that by saying, listen, the CMA is looking right now. We just increased the price of our console. Our competitor is pointing that out via, to the CMA, going, look at why they're doing it. Like they have such a lead. They could raise the price and not even blink. They go, oh, look they're scared of us having some exclusive. Well, look at all these exclusives that they have, and they look sweet. A Wolverine, that's nuts, and it's slated for 2023. Like, you're seeing it on all the reports, and if they show visual proof, I guess, I think that hits them a lot harder. I would just say that the proof's already there, and the CMA is already really weird, as we can all agree. Like, you're right. I don't care at the end of the day if Xbox acquires Activision, because to me, there's, not to say that nothing of value was lost, but like most of those games, if I'm going to play them, I'm going to play them on PC, not even on my PlayStation. I don't like the idea of consolidation, especially big conglomerates buying other big conglomerates. But at the end of the day, the leadership at Activision, even just as of today, is still incredibly toxic. That needs changing and molding into something better. And so to me, I think this is going to go through. I think I think it's going to be a net positive for the game industry and the employees there. But Sony is throwing a wrench in it because they see a future without the game that is number one on their sales charts every year, and they want to make sure that they get the best deal possible. We say this every time it's brought up, but if they could get an extra year of exclusivity or whatever have you, block, we just saw they want to block Call of Duty on Game Pass for X amount of years. Like, whatever they can get, they're going to try to go for. And whatever is going to be a net positive for them, they're going to try it. And this is the best case too, because Wolverine's already going to come out. Whether we show it in October, November, December, it does not matter. We're going to see it one day. But we may not see in the future a Call of Duty on a PlayStation. And so that's what they're fighting for. And listen, we can make as many cat jokes as we want about Jim Ryan, but it looks like he's landing blows. And if you are a big conglomerate like Sony is, you're looking at this guy going toe-to-toe with a company that is larger and wealthier than you. Hot damn. He's looking like he wore the right tap dancing shoes.
Yeah, I think that they see it as they see the political situation in some of these legislative bodies as ripe for, they hate tech companies right now. They hate companies that look just like Microsoft, and they're sort of activist bodies right now that are doing things that maybe aren't written in the law, but they're doing what they can. And so I think Sony saw blood in the water, and they were like, dude, if we can get a win here of any kind, let's try it, and I would expect them to do it. Do I think that's the right call for them? No, I think they should probably spend their efforts somewhere else. It's either going to happen or it isn't. And I don't think that what is happening right now, this sort of public flagellation that's happening in the town square of gaming, is good for the industry. And so that sort of makes me think that they're not really playing the long game. They're worried about the short-term gain instead, which is always something I get upset about when it happens in the business world. Um, but yeah, I'm curious to your point about the Activision thing. To me, it's not really about. I mean, obviously, I want the working conditions at Activision to improve, but to me, it's creativity was never going to come from Activision. They're too big of a company. They have shareholders. They have things that they have to worry about. I think that it's a natural part of the industry for companies to succeed and become huge and then eventually get eaten up by an even bigger company. And then out of that, there's a space left open
Yep.
for a company to fill that void. And I think the games industry needs that sort of change every once in a while for a company to kind of get eaten up and taken apart so that something else can fill the void. And you can have these other companies that are double A fill in that hole of triple A or do something like that. So
A good
I'm
example,
excited for that. Yeah.
a good example, I'm sorry I cut you off, but like a good example is like Bethesda. To me, Bethesda kind of has lost its magic outside of Doom. For me, right? If you love them, you love them. Don't let me, diminish that. And seeing them eaten up by Microsoft, I'm like, okay, maybe they can start investing in their, engines. And I think we're seeing that with something like a Starfield. And I think with that acquisition comes in other companies like CD Projekt, where maybe I'm just coming off the high that is Cyberpunk 2077 actually works and it's I'm having a fun time with it. But like you're seeing them kind of have a similar model of Bethesda. Like we got this really weird cyberpunk first person RPG and we got this this extravagant fantasy RPG, and they're both incredibly, as of right now, quality titles that define their genres in certain ways, pointing more towards Witcher. So like you're seeing that there are companies that are taking the place of that Bethesda. And when it comes to Activision, yeah, who is going to take that space?
I'm excited to see 2K has a good opportunity for it.
2K, and I think even this may be where we start fighting, but like I even think EA.
I knew it was coming.
Really? Well, EA to me has the same problem Activision has, which is that they sort of outgrew themselves. I actually don't think Bethesda was there. Bethesda makes me a little sad. I didn't like that Microsoft acquired them because I felt like they weren't there yet to the point where like, okay, it's time. Okay, Grandpa, time to go to bed. That sort of thing. And I feel similarly, just to be fair, because it's not just me not liking Microsoft buying things. I think Bungie selling itself to PlayStation was a huge mistake because I see Bungie as like the chosen one. I thought that they were going to be the company to replace Activision, and I think they sold too soon. I really do. I really do.
Okay.
I think that they could have been the company to grow and expand beyond Destiny and just be like the leader in shooters and action games and RPGs and all that stuff. And I was excited about that future when they broke away from Activision and announced that they were going to be indie, and they sold us the dream. I'm a Destiny fan, for those who don't know. They sold us Destiny players the dream of, oh, we're an independent studio now, we're going to go kick ass. And then like a year later they were like, never mind, we're going to sell to PlayStation for
we wanted to make
like,
TV shows.
Guys, come on. Like it just makes me so upset. So
that's funny you say that, because you're a massive Destiny fan. You're on a Destiny podcast. You're on one of the biggest Destiny shows. The Last Word, y'all should check it out. And as an outsider, as someone who stepped away from Destiny, like I look at that Bungie purchase going, yeah, Sony got a lot. What
they did.
I mean, they got a ton. What did Bungie get? Okay, they start making some TV, maybe some movies, expand into that transmedia stuff.
It is an amazing purchase for Sony, who wants to develop live service games and has absolutely no expertise in it. It's a terrible decision on Bungie's part because they famously do not play well with authority. That much is clear if you read their acquisition agreement, where they basically say, don't tread on me in the fine print. It's really not even the fine print, it's the large print. And I think that is not great for them. And then what do you get out of it? Well, you get to make an anime and you get to drop a hot single on Sony Music. That's not really worth it for me. I think that they really screwed up in that regard. And so the thing I would argue that nervous about acquisitions and the industry kind of getting eaten up is when it happens to those middle tier, or especially the small tier companies. When those small companies get bought, that hurts me way more than when like a bloated animal gets put down and gets eaten by a bigger one. So
see, to me, I think Bungie's bet is, we think we can make a Star Wars. That's what I'm thinking.
They already did make a Star Wars. I mean,
but like in a theatrical way of growing their audience that way. That's what
there's
I think
just
a lot
easier
of these
ways to
companies
do
have.
it, man. I honestly think like their whole slogan for Destiny is "Be brave," and I think they just chose to not do that, and it hurts me.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
You got to
All
take
right.
risks in this business, man. We work in a
That's
creative
right.
industry. It's tough, but if you believe in yourself, I think you can do it. And it's a decision. Everybody makes business decisions at the end of the day, and obviously, the people who own Bungie are happy to sell at the price they did, especially for what they got out of it. It's great, but I don't know.
Can I say
It
can I
breaks
say
my
something
heart.
here,
It breaks
Travis?
my heart. Yeah,
This is the first conversation I've had about acquisitions in a very long time.
there you go.
That I didn't
I love
hate.
talking about acquisitions, man. Great.
Because I know. Like I didn't ask Kyle anything because I know
Yeah.
Kyle's like, no interest. I don't
Yeah.
care anymore.
I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of it.
Let me sleep, damn it. That said, okay. Awesome conversation aside. Let's get into the next bit of news. I'm sorry, and we're running late, Travis.
It's all good. You got
Okay,
me.
you're good?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm chilling.
Take it away, Kyle.
Andy Robinson over at VGC writes, Gotham Knights won't have performance options on consoles and runs at 30 frames per second. The game's executive producer, Fleur Marty, shared the news on the game's Discord server on Friday, claiming that the decision was due to, quote, the types of features we have in our game, end quote, such as untethered co-op and a highly detailed open world. Quote, I know many of you are wondering about the availability of a performance mode for Gotham Knights on consoles, Marty wrote. Due to the types of features we have in our game, like providing a fully untethered co-op experience and our highly detailed open world, it's not as straightforward as lowering the resolution and getting a higher frame per second. For this reason, our game does not have a performance/quality toggle option and will run at 30 frames per second on consoles, end quote. Gotham Knights is planned for release on October 21st for PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. It was initially planned for release last year before being delayed to provide, quote, more time to deliver the best possible experience for players, end quote. In May, Warner said it no longer planned to release previously announced PS4 and Xbox One versions of Gotham Knights in order to, quote, provide players with the best possible gameplay experience.
Okay, Travis, this is the one reason why I don't think Midnight Suns is going to hit as high. Because I feel like decisions like these are, Midnight Suns, just like this game right here, they drop their PS4 and Xbox One versions of their games, and I feel like it is to meet the holiday deadline more than to, for quality assurance, if that makes any sense. That said,
I don't think so. I think I think the reason that they drop old consoles is because no one wants to be Cyberpunk 2077.
That's a good point. Look, you know what? I'm so glad I have you on. You're so smart. You made me look
I
so
mean,
dumb.
like the thing about it is like people learned from that like all versions of your game matter. It's not just the premium one that you do all your testing on. And when they were porting PC games to console back in the 2000s, companies learned that lesson too, and they stopped. They were like, you know what? We need port teams. We can't just rip the game onto a CD drive and save as Xbox file and send over. And I think Cyberpunk 2077 taught them like, oh, not everybody plays on the newest hardware, and if you don't develop for the old hardware, you're screwed. And I think that's why everyone's afraid of games that don't perform as well on those old consoles, because sometimes that's the only version people care about, as we learned with Cyberpunk.
I mean, remember playing, I think it was Half-Life on either PlayStation or the original Xbox.
Original
The
Xbox,
orange box?
yeah, the orange box.
No, this is just straight
the
up.
original one. Yeah.
Half-Life 1?
Yep.
Yeah, PS2 I think had a version of it.
I remember that.
There's so many examples. Unreal
Good.
Tournament, terrible on the original old consoles. Terrible.
Ooh-wee. Derek G writes, what are your thoughts on the current gen games being capped at 30 FPS? Can't help but feel like 30 FPS cap is unacceptable for games like Gotham Knights and A Plague Tale, especially considering these games are not even released on PS4 or Xbox One. I like the little monocle eye that he puts on there. Feels bad as a PlayStation 5 owner not to be able to play games at a higher frame rate, either though the console is almost 2 years old. We're back to frame rates. We're back to performance modes.
Let me tell you about why frame rates don't matter.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank
you.
Oh, okay. I'm ready for these.
Imagine that a game is is one of the best games you've ever played.
Okay.
It succeeds in every category. It's got great graphics. It's got the perfect gameplay. The story is like the best story you've ever heard in your life.
Uh-huh.
It's got all the features that you want, super well balanced, blah, blah, blah. But it runs at 30 frames. 30 frames only matters when everything else doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like if the game was perfect in every other way and it ran at 30 frames, you really wouldn't care. But if the game struggled in a lot of other areas and it was 30 frames, you're frustrated by the fact that it's one of the things that hurts. And so if it's the last thing that matters, it's really not that important. Practically every game that is one of my favorite games runs at less than 30 or 60 frames per second because they're older games, right? Like think about all of the PS2 games you love and PS3 games you love, and a lot of them ran at 30. I think that's fine. I reviewed Gotham Knights. I cannot talk about that yet because the embargo hasn't lifted. But
it's a crazy embargo. Like this show drops when Gotham Knights drops. We cannot talk about it.
Well, we can't talk about it because we're recording this before it drops. So that's my issue. But I can talk about A Plague Tale, which I also reviewed, and say that A Plague Tale, it certainly is unfortunate that it runs at 30 FPS, but I think if you like the other things about that game, it doesn't matter as much. There are times, of course, where it runs below 30 FPS because it has thousands of rats on screen at the same time that all move independently, which is insane. But it's not super important. I would just say I want developers to make the games that they want to make, and sometimes their ambitions make it so that they have to make sacrifices about the 30 FPS versus 60 FPS if your game is ambitious enough or you're trying to do something special. In the case of A Plague Tale, I think it makes sense because it's not like you need it to run at super fast frames. The game isn't like a Twitch shooter or whatever, it's not like a crazy one. In the case of Gotham Knights, putting aside the fact that I reviewed the game and I know everything about that game already and can't talk about it, I would just simply say that I don't think there's anything in that game that makes it have to be 30 FPS capped. I think it is an optimization problem, just purely based off what I've seen in that game. And
just seeing the PC specs alone, it's an optimization problem.
I think it's an optimization problem based on the specs and that sort of thing. And so I think people who like 60 FPS, more power to you.
God bless.
It definitely looks better. I'll give you that. I just don't think it's the most important thing in the game. That said, if the game's hurting already and it runs at 30 FPS, you're in for a world of hurt. And I totally get why people are pissed that they bought a more expensive box and they're not able to get it. In these cases, the game isn't available on the older consoles, so you had to upgrade anyway. So I don't know if you can complain that much. It's not like it looks the same on the previous gen consoles and this one. And I think there's a reason that they cut those old versions. I don't think a Plague Tale Requiem could run on the old consoles, and I don't think Gotham Knights could either. In Gotham Knights' case, I think the reason it couldn't run on old consoles is because it's not optimized well. But that's just me guessing. So.
Fair enough. Kyle, what say you? 60, 30, 40 FPS, I hear that's the thing now.
Plague Tale does that,
Plague Tale does it.
I don't care how many frames it is. I really don't. Like, I want to play the game about what am I doing in the game. Right. I think it only matters, at least for me, this is my experience with it.
Okay.
It only matters to me, and I can only tell a difference if there is a game where I'm switching between the two.
Yes.
So like if the game starts and it's only 30 frames per second from the moment you boot up the game, like I'm not gonna miss a 60 frames per second at all. Right. This is the game I'm playing. I'm so used to it from years of playing games that weren't at 60. Like Miles Morales on PS5 was my first 60 frames. Like, oh, I can see the difference a little bit.
Yeah.
I've been playing games for a decade plus at 30. So like it's fine. Even you, Joe, when you played Forbidden West, you were like, I wasn't doing 60. I was playing on the 4K HDR 30 frames thing because I want to see the beauty of it all. So like, it's fine. It's way too big of a problem. I think they're just bored. So I don't know. I understand people love their frames and want it as high as possible, but like, it's fine. I also like, and I know Travis can't even mention or probably like smirk anything about it, but like, I feel like this is a little bit more irrelevant because people are already a little bit down on Gotham Knights and not super excited about what they've seen.
Fair.
So
Yeah.
I think this is just
I mean,
another reason
I
to
don't
try to tack
know about
onto that.
you guys, but I'm way more concerned about Gotham Knights being a 2-player game. Do you guys know it's a 2-player game?
Honest to God,
Did you know that it's not 4 players?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 3.
No, it's 2 players.
It's only 2?
Look,
Okay.
it is a game with 4 playable characters, and it's a 2-player game. And I have been thinking for like 2 years that it's a 4-player game because all of their advertisements showed 4 heroes, and I was like, oh, it's a 4-player game. And then I got it to review, and I booted it up. I had 4 codes. I had 4 codes. My editor thought it was 4 players. Everyone at IGN thought it was 4 players, and we did an IGN first on it. We did a month of coverage, and like maybe this is just me. I personally didn't know, and my editor happened also not know. But it was like got 4 codes, got my friends together. We were all in party chat, and then we go, wait, is this a 2-player game? Like that to me is way more surprising. And that's, I can talk about that because that's publicly available information, but
absolutely.
To me, there's things to worry about with Gotham Knights based on what we've seen publicly that has nothing to do with the 30 FPS. So the 30 FPS thing might just be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and that's fine. I want people to expect more from their games. I want them to expect better performance and that sort of thing. But I think when you have a great game, which a Plague Tale Requiem is, it doesn't really matter that much. And if you aren't playing a Plague Tale Requiem because you saw it was 30 FPS, screw you. That's all I have to say. Like that, like there are great games that are 30 FPS, and it depends on the game. There's probably not very many great shooters that are 30 FPS. I'll give you that. All right.
That being said, though, if I could say, that is the only time I notice is A, shooter, or B, where I could turn it on and off. Like, Miles Morales, performance, fidelity, I can tell. And like what you said, Travis, if a game's really great, truly great, the FPS is not going to affect you. Like, I love Horizon Forbidden West, and I had the option, performance, where the glare is going to hurt my eyes if all the wheat, remember the weird little glowy wheat, hurt my eyes like hell. I switch it to fidelity. I'm like, this is great. Do I notice it? Sometimes, but it's not a deal breaker in the slightest. And let me also, and I know this is going to trigger you, Travis, because you hate truth and good games, but let me just think back to how many days it's been. A game that came out 2,766 days as of recording. That game, Bloodborne, game of the generation, game of the year of that year, 2005. You enter Old Yarnum. You enter the first bridge. Did you
say it was game of the year in 2005?
Sorry, 15. Sorry.
Okay. It probably would have been better in 2005. I would have excused some of its game design. But yeah.
Relax. Settle down. It's my show. I'll edge you out. Remember all those words that made you sound smart like an hour ago? I'll make them sound real
just
dumb.
Remove them. Yeah.
I have the power here. But like, that's one of my favorite games of all time. And I'm lucky when that thing hits 30 FPS. Let's be honest. So
I will say this: we can agree on the fact that Bloodborne is not really hurt by its frame rate.
We can
game design, sure, but
we can find common ground. All right.
You know what it is? Have I actually told you about what bugs me about Bloodborne? Like, actually, jokes aside, the reason that I'm hurt by Bloodborne is they made it not an RPG. That's what hurts me. Is that my favorite part about the Dark Souls.
Do you like Sekiro?
Games, I do like Sekiro, but I like Sekiro because Sekiro is weird for me, because for me, I guess I went into Bloodborne going, oh, this is like so similar to a Dark Souls game. It just, the setting is really the only thing that's different. And so I was expecting an RPG, and it's basically just an action game where you don't really get to pick your character class or how you play or whatever. You just have a couple weapon choices. And Sekiro to me is like, it's really not about weapons, and the story kind of carries it, which I would argue Bloodborne doesn't really have. And by the way, I have that criticism about all Dark Souls games, that the story is kind of meh. People try to pretend like it's good, but
right. If I need to watch a Vate video a 46-minute long video to understand the story.
It's
That's
not
not. It's not.
Yeah.
That's
That's you. It's
relax.
Dude, I have the same conversations with the Destiny community. They're like, it's good if you read the grimoire, and I'm like, shut up, go away, touch grass, man. Like nobody's gonna, So
no one's reading those goddamn cards.
But that's really what my problem is. I went in expecting an RPG, and I got kind of like a not very difficult action game. But I mean, it's a beautiful game. It's got interesting characters.
Well, Travis, I got a question for you.
Yeah. Were
you expecting a Elite controller at a competitive price?
I was not.
Well, this story's right for you.
Yeah.
Take it away, Kyle.
Nice pivot.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Taveka Smith over at PS Lifestyle writes, DualSense Edge release date and price shown in new controller features trailer. DualSense Edge release date is January 26, 2023, and the customizable PS5 wireless controller price is $199.99 US. Players will be able to pre-order the controller through PlayStation Direct from next week. The customizable options include 3 types of stick caps, swappable back buttons, replaceable individual stick modules, and the opportunity to customize controller mapping through 3 different profiles. Stick sensitivity and dead zones can also be adjusted. The controller also comes with the usual DualSense features, including haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, a built-in microphone, motion controls, and more. While the controller comes with its own USB Type-C braided charge cable with locking connector housing in the box, which will allow the controller to be charged while it's in its carrying case, the DualSense Edge is also compatible with the existing DualSense charging station.
Ooh, $200.
But what is the battery life like?
Fucking great question. Who knows?
Because honestly, here's the
20 minutes.
That's the only thing I want to be better. Well, I also want them to stagger the sticks, because the way they have the sticks is terrible. But
that's better.
It's worse. But
everybody applaud when I say that. It's better.
Okay. Staggered 6 is better. I agree. But
actually, it really doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter.
Really?
Yeah, it's all semantics.
Interesting.
Doesn't matter where the analog stick is, guys.
I think it does matter. For grip, it matters. I think there's actually studies on.
Let me tell you, Luke's mother doesn't mind.
Yeah, nice. I don't understand this rivalry. But yeah,
I don't either.
It lost me a while ago.
Really, the only thing I want with the PlayStation controller is I just want the battery to last longer. If that happens, I'll pay $200. I really will. I swear to you, PlayStation. So,
well, Ditko writes in, do you guys think the Edge controller is a good price point or higher than you were expecting? Does this also worry you as VR2 will come? Where VR2 will come in now. I wasn't expecting such a high price point for the controller, so I'm a little worried for PSVR 2 at the moment. Kyle?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we actually guessed this on the money. We're like $200. It's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Exactly. It is what...
at this price, with the braided cable and all, Kyle.
Sure.
Does this have your loins tighten?
Absolutely not.
No. I know this is not a you thing at all.
It's not a me thing, right? Like I'll stick to my buying every DualSense color possible.
Wow.
Yeah, I got them all right now, Travis.
No
but
way.
I will not get a.
We even got the camo one.
Oh no, not the camo one.
Yeah, because we have class.
Yeah. I'll skip on
tacky.
That one.
It's camo is tacky, guys.
But all right, well, I mean, good luck surviving in the woods without your camo controller.
What? Yeah, I know. What am I gonna do
when you get shot while you're holding your neon green controller?
That's right. Exactly. Actually, camo is not to. It's not to keep you hidden. It's actually just to obscure you, so that you're
What's the difference?
A harder target to hit.
Harder.
Yeah, it's not about hiding. It's just to make your body look weird.
Oh,
yeah,
that's what I learned.
Yeah, but if you're
are they the same thing though?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's what someone like.
If somebody,
I literally had a conversation.
Yeah.
It's
not like you're trying to be invisible, but if you're holding a neon green controller, you're gonna get your hand blown off. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just giving you information I got from my vet coworker I learned 2 days ago. It's not to conceal you. It's just to make you look goofy.
Yeah.
All right.
So when Charlie's looking at you, they're like, oh my god, I can't shoot that guy. He's goofy looking, and they put their guns down.
Fair.
Where were we? Right.
Controller. Who's gonna buy it?
They really are making PlayStation a premium brand.
Ooh wee.
I mean, like upping the PlayStation console price. This Edge controller is $50 more than Elite controller, right? Isn't the Elite like 150?
No, I
something?
think it's 180.
Yeah.
Oh, 180.
Yeah, so
Okay,
it's
so
really
20
not
bucks
that much
more.
more
So it's not that crazy then.
Yeah.
And like, are you realistically going to, get this and PSVR 2 and like probably pay way more than an actual PS5 console? I don't know.
Yeah, so and just for a reference point, the Elite controller right now $180, but
Okay.
like the new one that just came out, it's $130, but doesn't come with any of the components. So you have to buy them separately.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me.
So for me,
Yeah, it
that's
looks
why
like it's on sale right now for $155, which may be in
Okay.
response to the PlayStation announcement. I don't know, but yeah.
and I think that, and like that cheaper price point too is definitely look at us compared to, and it hides the fact that the things that you need to adjust all that controller is sold separately. So to me, I'm like,
the 155 comes with everything. It's just on sale right now.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like the
core,
the new white one that they came out with. Yeah, the core.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what it's called. So to me, I'm just like, it's just $20 more. I don't know why everybody's yelling about this.
I don't
Like,
think,
it's just
and the other thing
$20
is
more.
that controller has a lot of problems. The Elite controller
It's a
too.
piece of shit. Let's be
One,
real.
it comes. I mean, I love the controller. The problem is you have to buy a warranty with it, because if you don't get a third-party warranty, you are going to be hurting. So
I've
I will
gone
say
through
this.
3 of them, Travis.
I have
I'm not
also
kidding
gone
you.
through like 3 of them, but I've had a warranty every time. So I've just gone to Best Buy and been like, sorry, bro. And when I bring it in, they're like, yeah, this happens a lot. Like we get a lot of these turned in, and I'm like, well, good. Sell me another warranty. And then I pay like another $20 every time. Right.
Yeah.
But it's worth it because I don't have to pay 180 every time.
Is it just like the build quality? Is
No,
it like the
it's
triggers
like
failing?
it's like
or?
certain things about it will break, and then you're just like, God damn it.
Analog sticks and bumpers.
Or analog stick or bumper. Actually, I haven't had problems with analog sticks. Mine's have been bumpers, and then one time the A button started to jam a little bit. And the thing is, if you have a warranty, you will turn your controller in for even the most minor of complaints. But I will say this. I got the Halo one recently, and that's like the newest model with some of the quality of life improvements applied to it. And I've had 0 problems, and I've been using that one really heavily. So I think maybe they've worked it out. But I'll say this.
Travis, it took 3 weeks for the bumper to start dying on that one.
On the Halo one?
Yep.
No way. Oh,
Yep.
wow. Well, that's
Joe also
horrifying.
is notorious for breaking dual shocks.
No.
So I think it might be a Joe
interesting.
problem.
So it might be a Joe problem.
Let's
be-
relax.
I will
Let's
say
relax
this:
on that rhetoric.
if $20 more means that I don't have to, buy a $50 warranty with it,
Yeah.
more power to you, Sony. Good job. I mean, we'll see how the controller actually performs, but I don't think $20 more is that expensive. This is a premium product. It's not for the average consumer, just like PSVR isn't going to be, guys. I hate to break it to you, but it's going to be $599. So get ready.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's going to be an expensive piece of gear. I love the conversation actually you guys had on Bitcast. I won't repeat it here. You guys really should take a gander at it, because like VR is going to be a niche product. It's going to be a niche product for a very long time. And the people that are going to get this headset are in for that experience. It's not for your average consumer. And same with this controller. It's for people that are diehard multiplayer gamers, whether it's Apex, whether it's Call of Duty, whatever have you. That's why that controller was made. It was not for the people that are like Kyle, that are playing your Gotham Knights, your Plague Tales, these solo experiences. They're for the competitive base.
Know your audience.
Yep.
And when it comes to a high-end controller, they'll be more offended if it's cheap but doesn't have all the bells and whistles than if it's expensive and it has them, right? And so go for the high end. And I think the same is true. You hit the nail on the head for VR. If they sold a $300 VR headset in 2022, people would hook that thing up to their PS5 and they would rage because it wouldn't be the most premium VR headset that they've had. So they're going to need to release a $599 one. They'll sell fewer, but the people who have it will rave about it online. And that is worth more than getting some extra sales for a mid-tier headset. So I think that's true.
Yeah. So for me, like, everything I've seen for this controller, I'm totally in. It's everything that I've wanted from them and then some. So I'm excited. This is great. I hope, though, there is still a back button attachment that they sell separately for the commoners like Kyle, who just every once in a while wants to come in and play a Fortnite, you know?
Battery life.
But yeah, the thing that does strike me is like I want to see those teardowns, because if it is the same battery, y'all, this thing is lasting an hour and 30 minutes tops.
Yeah. And that's actually one of the things that the Xbox Elite controller does really well is you never have to charge that thing. It lasts for weeks. And so I don't know. Man.
And the fact that they're like, hey, here's this long ass braided cable and a lock so you don't lose it. Because everybody's like, what's that lock? It's to keep the braided cable in your controller so you don't accidentally pull it out or anything like that. That tells me that's a warning. It's the same battery. It's the same battery.
No, PlayStation, please. I'm begging you.
All right, gang. This is definitely going to be the longest episode we've ever done. Look at this. Everybody clap. Everybody cheer. Play Tale Requiem. It came out this week. I've played a little bit of it. Travis, you've played all of it. I'm a huge Plague Tale fan. I loved the first game. It was really up there for my game of the year in 2019. I think it's a stellar game. I think it highlighted at least Asobo to me as this company, this studio that can punch above their weight, unlike really any I've seen in recent year. Requiem's come out. It is current gen consoles only, no PS4, no Xbox One. This is, to me, them putting an even bigger budget on what was a smaller project, and now trying to elevate it as this mainstream thing, at least in my eyes. So I want to know what your thoughts are of Requiem, what you think of it. And Kyle, I know you haven't played it. I know you're not a huge Plague Tale fan. If you have any questions, throw them our way. So, Travis, where were you walking in on Requiem?
Yeah, I also, like you, really was surprised by Innocence, the first game. I played it not knowing anything about it, and at first I was like, oh, this is kind of an interesting game. And then I was like, actually, this is kind of a weird game. And then by the end, I was like, this game's crazy. This game is actually unhinged. And then 2 basically just takes that and goes, yeah, let's be, you know how we were kind of unhinged at the end? Let's see how far we can push it. And by the end of the game, you're just sort of like jaw on the floor, like, dude, what is happening? Like, this game is unbelievable. So it's really cool. I will say the main criticism I had for it, and the reason it didn't get higher than an 8 for me, is that I think it is a safe sequel. It is very much like, hey, we're just going to do a lot of the same formula and recipe that we did with 1. We're going to, have lots of rats where you have to do the same sort of like light puzzles to get through them. And it does obviously improve in pretty much every area. It's better looking. The writing is better, in my opinion. The voice acting is better. The combat action gameplay is way better, even though I still think they should not have combat sequences, full combat anyway. It doesn't really make sense for her to take down an army by herself with a stone thrower. That's just me. But I will say that it does everything good. I just sort of wish that when games get big, they have a tendency to take fewer risks, as we've talked about a few times in this episode, and I don't want them to do that. I really want Asobo to be the weird studio that does things, and in some ways it does take risks, especially when it comes to the way it tells its story and how it's not afraid to kind of change the dynamics of the world and the relationships with the characters and that sort of stuff. So I really liked it. I gave it an 8. You can read or watch my review on IG.com, and where I can go into way more depth. But yeah, it is great. If you didn't play the first one, you probably should. You'll get a lot more out of the story.
You absolutely should, yeah.
But if you do play the second one straight away, you technically will not be lost in the story too much. They do a pretty good job of easing you in. It's just that if you didn't play the first one, you're kind of be walking into the weird even crazier amped up sequel. It'd be like watching like Fast and Furious 4 before you saw 1, and you're kind of like, whoa, this is crazy, and then you never really kind of saw the roots of how it started. So I would just say play the first one. Would be my
Travis, just really quickly, I'm looking on the PlayStation blog. They said they multiplied the number of rats by 60 from the first game to this one.
That sounds like an understatement to me.
Because from on the blog it says
Yeah.
from 5,000 to 300,000 rats.
Yeah, I think there are at least
Rats.
300 rats on screen at one time. And those
How
are
insane is that?
those are, by the way, not cutscene rats. Those are
Oh,
rats
really?
Wow.
coming after you at the
Whoa.
and you're playing the game, and you're sort of just like, dude, y'all need to go. Like, basically what they do is they just replaced like a flood effect. It's like a wave is coming after you, or
Sure.
the town's
Yeah.
flooding, except for it's rats. But the really impressive thing is that each of those rats operates independently. It's not a mob enemy. And so you can break off one rat from the mob and like make it go in a different direction. And that part is crazy. And I think the
Wow.
tech behind the rats and the fact that they have 60 times the number of rats is the reason it's 30 FPS and it's not on old generation consoles. I do not think the game is poorly optimized. I just think it's a little more ambitious than the Xbox One specifically can handle. And I think that's the problem. Gotham Knights, I don't think has that same excuse, but that I think Plague Tale Requiem does. So
Yeah. I think playing through, first off, I love the time period it's in, right? Like this medieval Dark Ages type of, playing with the plague, and making it this living thing in the world beyond just people getting sick, but like the rats being in this world where you have to traverse through them or use them to your advantage, sneaking past guards or soldiers as you're going by. I love Amicia and Hugo, and I think the one thing that they do so well in these games is she's a 16-year-old girl with like her 7-year-old brother. Like, of course she's not going to be able to, and she shouldn't be able to take on like 7 dudes with, swords and shields. Like, she's just a kid. And so it really is about, I think when Plague Tale works its best, it's when you're using the environment, the rats, to get through an obstacle or get through a target. And I think you're right. For the most part, Plague Tale Requiem doesn't do anything aside from the rat portion where they're all individual. They don't do anything truly ambitious in its gameplay, because it feels like, yeah, this is more Plague Tale. I know it's always such a weird critique. It's like, it's more the thing that I really liked, but
I think it's totally valid. I mean, remember this when you play God of War Ragnarok would be my suggestion.
hey, relax. But like, it's like, what is the extra layer of gameplay that is on top of it that enhances it or changes up the formula in a different way? And that's what I feel like is the only truly thing missing here, is that gameplay, I guess, the ambition in its gameplay. Because I'm right there with you. I'm only like 3-4 hours into this game, but the story already feels like it left off perfectly from the last game, and it is more ambitious in the story it's telling and the characters that you're meeting and their missions, their goals, their aspirations than what the previous game gave us. I think the characters in the sequel are far more likable and relatable than the ones in Innocence. So for me, I love where the story's going. The gameplay, though great, is more of the same.
It is.
And that's the only critique that I can give it. But for Asobo, I think they know that this is going to be a lot of people's first in this series. And I think, hopefully, if there's more of them, we're going to see something very ambitious in a trilogy.
I hope so.
Yeah. Next year.
By the way,
Travis,
pro
where-
tip, if you want to see something really interesting, change the language to French and
Oh, really?
play it with English subtitles. Because it's it takes place in France, so it
Yeah.
feels like kind of like playing Ghost of Tsushima with the Japanese mode with
Oh.
the English subtitles.
Hmm.
So it's pretty interesting. I didn't play the whole game that way. I played it for like a chapter or two, but I was very impressed. I was like, this is kind of
Okay.
nice. Kind of.
What did you review it on, Travis?
I reviewed it on the Xbox Series X. I think that
Okay.
I think Xbox had a marketing deal with Asobo on this one because it's on Game
Got
Pass
it.
and all that. So
Yeah.
that was just the platform that they
Oh, okay.
had everybody review on.
The reason I ask is I always like to ask people who review games beforehand, like the DualSense and how it felt.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
can
definitely
answer
that's
some
what-
of
Oh yeah, Joe, that's right. Yeah, you played a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. The features are there, so like when you're running, you feel like the pitter patter on her feet. When she's winding up a throw, you can feel that sensation in the controller. So the DualSense capabilities, great question. They're there. and I think they're good in the sense of they're there. They don't feel obtrusive.
Okay.
Like Cyberpunk, when it has its DualSense capabilities, like the trigger is just like a cement wall for a paddle. This one, it feels subtle but noticeable.
Does the controller talk at you? That's my least favorite feature of the DualSense.
That's a great question. I use headsets, so I
okay.
can't really tell. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I hate that too. When I'm playing Cyberpunk, it's
I'm like,
through
dude,
the
I'm like,
controller.
shut up. Or like, you know, you're like trying to be quiet, like somebody else is doing something in the room or sleeping, and so you like mute the TV, and then all of a sudden your controller goes, hi, and like somebody like talks at your controller, and you're like, shut up. And it's bothers
Exactly.
me.
And then again, like I run away. Like I don't know what this is. I'm not going crazy, but I'm not about to around and find out. You know, I'm not gonna.
I love that you have the bleep button. That's so cool. I
love it.
need to get that. Yeah.
Go
Can you
XLR.
Can you bleep me earlier when I accidentally? You can.
No,
you can
no. It's only my little doohickey here. Yeah.
Mine's
so
broken. I can't do it on my end either.
I'll call him.
Yeah,
but like
no, you won't.
you get to call Luke's mom, and it's great. Yeah. It's really great.
Too much power. Too much power.
Too much power. Flash news. All right, it's time. Gotta run. Gotta go fast. This is fast news. Oh, goodness. Only 2 bits of news here. Red Dead Redemption. That's right. We bring back the voice. No longer on PlayStation Plus, which means you cannot play it on PlayStation 4 or 5.
God damn it, Arthur! Arthur! I've got a plan.
All right, person that gave us the 2-star. Now it's the 1-star for Travis. And you gotta blame Travis, not me. Yeah, I thought this was interesting news because I was like, wait, can't you play it on PS? No, right. There's the remaster never happened. It made me a little sad.
Yeah.
Also, apparently this comes from a Twitter user by the name of IfNoLB. The final God of War Ragnarok size is that of 118 gigs, according to their screenshot on Twitter. They took it on PlayStation 4. Who knows? But it looks like you buy PlayStation 5, you could fit 3 games on it. What are they going to be? What are they going to be?
Unless you open it up.
Unless you open, and listen, it's not that difficult. It's not a heart transplant.
It is a very poor design for a consumer facing product that is designed for people who are not tinkerers, who famously don't want to fiddle with their machine that they buy, right?
Yeah,
otherwise they would have bought PCs, right? But I will say it's not that hard.
It's 3 minutes.
If you buy the right hard drive and if you know what you're doing and you don't get the heat sink or whatever.
They got one that's a PlayStation branded. It's like, look at this. Look at what we have here.
I'm just saying it's more confusing than a memory card. That's all I'm saying.
Honestly, it is cool. Like the Xbox one, yeah, it's overpriced. I get it. But it is cool that it's like a memory card.
They're both bad solutions is my policy.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be a better solution than literally I have to take apart my console and I have to pay 4 times market price or whatever it is Xbox is selling at. There's got to be a better middle ground between those two.
It's got to be. It's got to be. Hey, guys, are you holding on to something?
Yeah.
Travis, are you holding on to something? Anything. It could be anything.
Something? Oh, holding on to my butt?
Oh, all right.
My
Prepare the drop. Here are the latest steals and deals coming to the PlayStation storefront. A Plague Tale Requiem comes out on October 18th. It's already out. Play it. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed out on October 18th. Luke loves this game, so I don't know. The Jumping Rap on October 18th. Here's the best game I've ever heard in my life.
It's pretty cool.
Them's Fightin' Herds on October 18th. I don't know what this game is. I don't know what it looks like, but you need to buy it.
I believe it's like a chicken fighter.
Ooh, I don't know if I condone cockfighting, but I did just make a
It's an indie fighting game.
the
Typical most side-scrolling fighting games
the
features
fighting
a cast of all-female ungulate characters.
So actually, I think I played this one last night.
Really?
Yeah, I was just messing around on a console. It's like it looks like My Little Pony if it was a 2D fighting game. That's what it looks like. It's kind of interesting. Also, I have to say, Ghostbuster Spirits Unleashed. I am also reviewing that game. I had to put it on hold to review Gotham Knights, but it's an asymmetrical multiplayer game where 4 people play the Ghostbusters and 1 person plays the ghost. It's basically like a hide and seek. And what I've played so far is not very good. So that's my
Oh.
early sneak peek on what my review might be like. But I've only played 7 hours or so there's still time.
Honestly, I like the cover. Looks like a fighting herds, like drawn to death, but like more creative style, and it looks like it looks like one of those. Looks like a fighting game. It looks like a Street Fighter. Not like it, in the vein of like 2D. Okay. Well, I made a proclamation. I'm gonna stick to it. Buy it. Just for the title alone. 41 hours on October 19th. Is this where like the guy loses his other arm? What do you think? What do you guys think?
He has to do 2 hours. I have no idea what that one is.
No clue. Batora, Lost Heaven on the 20th. Tempest
I've
on
played
the
that
20th.
one as well. Batora Lost Heaven.
Jackbox Party Pack 9 on the 20th.
Hell yeah.
Jumping Rap Turbo. That's right. Jumping Rap came out on the 18th. There's already a sequel, and it's turboed.
Hell yeah.
October 20th. Gotham Knights 21st. JoJo Siwa Worldwide Party. I've heard the name JoJo Siwa. Don't know. This could be anything. Don't tell me. I want to be surprised. New Tales from the Borderlands on October 21st. Persona 5 Royal. I guess this is the PS5 version, October 21st.
Yep.
The Jumping Burger Halloween Edition. Great. On the 21st.
Great.
There you go. Go buy Plague Tale Requiem. Go buy Fighting Herds for the name alone.
Them's fighting.
And Jumping Rap Turbo. Skip the first one. Just go straight to the second. All right. It's time for our last segment, but our favorite segment of the show. It is time for the Sony Pony Express.
Yeah.
That's right. We could do the voice now. I've been
Arthur.
You know what? Maybe that guy had a point. All right. First question comes from Katie. Of course, you can write your questions, and just like Katie did, whether you add us over at PS Trophy Room or you join the Trophy Room Discord server, and I ask questions each and every Wednesday, and just like these good people, I could put you in here in the show, and you'd be part of the show forever. It'd be, just a fun old time. Hey guys, pretty much, I just wanted to get your thoughts on the whole Bayonetta voice acting debacle. We could have another podcast. That's how long this is. A lot of different things are being said, but what do you think this might hopefully change things for the better? And voice actors will get paid what they deserve. So, if my memory holds, Bayonetta's original voice actor, she's not returning for the third game. She came out with a Twitter video, and she's like, "Hey, I'm all on board to play Bayonetta, but for this ship title, this huge character being, promoted on Nintendo, whatever, I'm only getting paid $4,000 for this role." Which then came to Platinum, creative director that is working on Bayonetta. God, what's his last name? Oh my goodness.
I'll look it up.
Please go for it. Well, him coming out and having a not great response of like, this is utterly untrue, and if you try to talk to me in English about it, I'm gonna block you. It led to a very weird drama between the creative director of Platinum kind of being a douche to its fans and what this voice actress that is beloved in these games, what she was saying.
Is it Hideki Kamiya?
Kamiya, there you go.
Kamiya, there you go.
Well, it turns out, via various reporting, that in fact, no, it was $4,000 per session, and there was going to be about anywhere from 3 to 4 sessions if memory serves. So she was actually going to get about around $20,000 for her role as Bayonetta.
And a session, you got to assume, is a day, right? So
yeah, typically from what I'm aware of,
for 4 to 5 days,
4 to 5 hours a day is a session.
Yeah.
I
mean, I think it's a non-union job. I don't want to get into that. Like you said, this could be a whole episode, but yeah.
Yeah, it really can be. The long and the short of it is, I can't make heads or tails of it, but I really hate when I make public proclamations to things that I shouldn't. And I'm usually reserved a lot of the time when I have like these reactions to things, but I feel like I get sensitive when I see an average, what I assume is an average person, claiming that they're taken advantage by big corporation, I'm always going to choose the little person's side. And I feel like, to me, I should have reserved judgment. That was poor, literacy on my hand, because it does seem like they gave her an offer that was much higher than the original $4,000 were. And I think that drama overshadows the fact that voice actors often get paid shit for their roles to start with. So I don't actually think this helps anyone. It doesn't help that person's reputation, as they're probably blacklisted now by various companies. It doesn't make Platinum look great, because they just had their creative director block half of his fan base in the span of a weekend.
He's notorious for that, though, I think.
Yeah, he is kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But, like, to me, like, he is. I mean, it's just, it comes off what it is. But, like, nobody, everybody's walking out with a black eye, and nobody's happy about the end result, is what I get out of this. What about you, Travis?
Yeah, I'll just say I think, first of all, I just want to say Platinum is not a huge corporation. They're like, they're a studio that's like 2 games away from going out of business if they're not good.
I'm thinking of Nintendo.
Nintendo, sure.
They're the
Nintendo,
publisher
sure.
and all that.
Yeah, but they're publishing the game, they don't own Platinum. So, so I would just say, like, studios should have the ability to tell actors that's too much money, and actors should have the ability to say, you're not respecting my time, I want more. And I think that that's what happened here. I don't particularly like the practice of somebody going out there and claiming that they're owed the part, or it's the I'm you can't do this without me, I am the game, that sort of thing. I don't think is a great attitude to have. I also don't think it's a great attitude to lie, as Platinum appears to have done when they said that it was a scheduling conflict, which it clearly was not. So I think there's fault on both sides. I think the idea that you shouldn't assume one side is correct and telling the truth right away is smart, as we've learned now that we have verified reports that the voice actress was in fact offered more money. So yeah, this sort of stuff, I hope it works itself out. Games are really expensive to make. They don't have Robert Downey Jr. money, so it's not like they can pay voice actors $1 million for 5 days of voice work. That said, voice actors work very hard. They deserve to get paid fair, and I'm glad that she had the freedom to say no and refuse to do the part. I think that's part of what you get when you're voice actors. You don't have to say yes to the job. It's not sweatshop labor. So, in my opinion, this is sort of just like normal business stuff, right? One person makes an offer, the other person says, no, I'm good, and leaves. And I think it became unnecessary drama because of the perception that she was being taken advantage of or something. I don't think you don't have a right to your job. You know what I mean? If the other person doesn't think you're worth the money, or you think you're worth more than they're willing to pay you, then you walk and you find somebody else who's willing to hire you. So I think this is kind of at least in my opinion, not a very interesting story or really a reason for there to be a lot of drama. It was more just the way it came out that people sort of freaked out. But
And do you think, Kyle, like, this is maybe one of the reasons why everybody freaked out is because this industry is overly secretive about what is typically something like super average? Because like Travis, you said, it's like, this is just a company going, that's a little bit too high of a rate, and the other person going, well, you're not respecting my talent, so I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of that, of it being a little bit secretive. Also, like, we don't know all the ins and outs. Like, we just play the games and talk about them and whatnot.
Yeah.
So outsider kind of looking in. My whole thoughts on it, like, I don't want to talk about the drama stuff, but like,
Sure.
Once again, another week where there's like targeted harassment at somebody else, like Jennifer Hale.
Yeah.
Got like directed a lot of hate because she took over the role, and it's so unneeded,
like she's a
and
scab.
unwanted.
She, it's like, it's crazy.
It's just, it's just really, really crazy, and I hate that is what social media is these days. It's just like, let's attack these people for no reason, pretty much.
Yeah, I hate that as well. And it really is just, social media is such a mob mentality for things. You feel like you need to say something because everybody's saying something. And like for me, it's like you feel like there's an injustice. So your heart just goes, I'm going to speak out. And I know Kami is a bit of a dick. So like, I feel comfortable with this position. And it turns out it's kind of like, I've been saying this a lot recently, but it's like the worst person made a really great point. And it seems like, Platinum Kamiya probably was leaning more on more truths than lies here, but still very much a shade of gray. So for me, I don't like the drama getting out of this is overshadowing the importance of voice actors, their work, as I hit the mic, and
being properly compensated.
Yeah. It also goes to show Jennifer Hale, class act in her response, but also she's probably getting paid more than that 20 grand. And it's because of that social media presence. People know Jennifer Hale. I didn't know this other actress. It's kind of like when Troy Baker takes a role, that's Troy Baker behind that mic, right? So for me, it's also like that shitty Hollywood mentality of like, Tom Holland got the role of Nathan Drake, not because he looks like Nathan Drake or acts like Nathan Drake, but because he's Spider-Man and his social media presence is goddamn insane. That's why he has that. Just the reason why Troy Baker gets roles, who he is. Yeah. And that voice behind it, that his following, that's what's important to a lot of these folks.
I do wonder if $4,000 per session is an industry standard, though, because I have no frame of reference, but if you only have to do 4 or 5 sessions, which equates to 4 or 5 days in a booth, that sounds pretty good for me. Like 16 to 20K for a game, and then you get to move on and do the next game. Like that's pretty good money if you're getting regular work.
I would also mention, like, when it comes to like when like mocapping is involved, it's probably a little bit more.
Probably,
right?
Yeah. I don't know if she was doing mocapping, but I think like if I had to appear on a Colin's Last Stand episode because people online were upset about pay rates for writing news articles at IGN. Remember that whole debacle that happened a couple months ago? And I had to go and explain to them that the job that they thought was underpaid was actually just they didn't know what was involved in the job, because it takes 15 minutes to post an article, and getting paid $20 per article is actually, or was it $60? I can't remember. $20 per article, something like that. I was like, that's actually pretty good as somebody who worked for $0 an article for other companies. So I think sometimes people make assumptions on what is good money based off of arbitrary numbers, but like I don't know what a good pay is for a voice actor. I honestly don't. $4,000 a session might be amazing. I have no clue. So
and we take a look at like it also is like the frame of reference. It's like, well, I like for example, for me, like my job is very physical, so like I literally have to rip people away from other people half of the time. So like my job, incredibly physical. I'm not getting paid $4,000 a day in a booth. I may look at that going, well, I literally have to wrestle people from people every day for much less. That person shouldn't complain. It's also that type of mentality that we see a lot of. It's like, I work in construction. I hit large blocks until they're small blocks. You shouldn't get to complain.
You're on a chain gang? Is that what it is? You raise
a little bit.
I love how that's your knowledge of construction.
Yeah, I hit blocks until there's small blocks. This guy thinks construction workers are on a chain gang.
Do you stop working when you hear the whistle? Is that Joe? Is that what happens?
Yeah, you got the little punch out machine. And you get
is the punch out machine like a pterodactyl's mouth or something?
Yep.
That's absolutely. A living. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not the mama.
You get in your car and you pedal with your feet to your home. Where
good man,
where a little turtle cooks you linguine. And you go, oh, why bother?
It was very on par with Flintstones until we got to the linguine, a food that definitely never comes up in Flintstones. They're always eating like meat. So,
oh boy, here we go again. The linguine. What's next? Rigatoni? Yeah.
Joe knows of a rare Flintstone Sopranos
spinoff. It's a strange combo.
You put your stone coin in the jukebox, it plays, the screen goes black. But yeah, it's just a whole lot of the industry's so secretive, and the reason why it's so secretive is half the time I feel like developers are scared you're just going to yell at them because that's usually the truth of the matter. And the other time is because PR will kind of toss you to the flame and just go, all right, deal with it. Like we saw with the Gotham Knights situation, right? Those people had T-minus 2 minutes to figure out a post to put on that Discord server of why this game couldn't run at 30 frames per second. And for some reason, it wasn't good enough. So that's the thing, is just people like to be upset. So it's probably one of the many reasons why this industry is so secretive and why I just hate the drama, you guys. I just hate it.
Yeah.
All right. Muffinmon writes in, hey guys, Plague Tale's #1 fanboy here. Just wondering how you guys are surviving playing through. Look at this, comes up again.
Oh, I should have put that
How
in
dare
an
you.
earlier thing. My bad.
30 frames per second. The internet has made it very clear that any game running under 60 frames per second is unplayable trash. But in all honesty, after beating Requiem, it's firmly my game of the year 2022. As it stands, do you think this is the game that will finally elevate Asobo in the industry? Because in my eyes, this game can stand up right there next to a Naughty Dog title. That's actually a great question. Do you think that this is the game that elevates Asobo, Travis?
Not to Naughty Dog levels. Certainly
No.
not. I think you need more than 2 games with that. I kind of think the first one did that a little bit. The first one made me think of Soba as like, oh, well, they're punching way above their weight. I think 2 will continue that story, but it doesn't do anything that makes me think like, oh, they're going to be a leader right now. Right now, they're chasing an established type of game. They're basically looking at Naughty Dog's game and going, oh, we could do that. We could do something like that on a smaller budget, and they're succeeding. But I think if you want to be elevated as a studio, you have to find evergreen territory. You have to find something that's never been done before, and I don't think you can do that by parroting existing game genres and game developers like Naughty Dog. So I think my answer is no. I really like them as a studio, but I don't think they're going to be big league, AAA people.
I don't think that this is like their sophomore album, but it is something where, well, first let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Flight Sim is fantastic, right? I believe the same studio.
Yep.
Innocence is great. Requiem is fantastic. So they're getting up there. It really is, what's the next thing? What is that next IP that you're going to play with? You're right. They could be very much like a Team Ninja in the fact of like, hey, there's this genre called Souls. We could do something similar but different enough, and we'll find our own niche within a niche. They could definitely be a team like that, or they can do something different and creative, and it may not hit commercially well but be critically well. And I think of that of like, I think of that with like Alan Wake or Control from Remedy. Like their games are
Hellblade is a good
legitimately
one.
great.
Senua's Sacrifice is a really good example of that. It's like
Exactly.
one where it was a totally different game, and even though it didn't have the production values, it was so unique that everybody was like, we've never seen this before. And now look at them. Now they're making what some are considering like the next gen game, right? Like the Unreal Engine 5 debut title. So I think that I hope that they keep pushing and they don't take their current successes as they don't stop there. I don't want this to be their height. If they do that, I think they'll make it big. If not, then they'll probably just find success doing what they're doing now. But yeah.
Stephen Flesh writes in, howdy guys, I've got a spicy question for y'all. Ooh, I'm working in the Yellowstone National Park. What?
Whoa.
Nice.
This week, cutting down and trimming trees. He's gonna start fracking now. Cutting down, trimming trees back for fire mitigation. Okay, we're back. We're good. It's good. He even says it. Don't worry, we're hired. Okay, it's like I always think when they're doing like fire mitigation, it's like you're raking leaves. That's what I'm thinking. Like, oh, this could be a fire. All right.
It's probably part of it. Yeah.
We're running late. So that got me thinking, what type of game genre would you like to take place in a national park, and which park? Can't wait to hear your ideas while I'm working in a park. Ooh,
Nice.
Is this weird? I just like a parking sim.
I've got a great idea.
Go for it.
All right. My game is based around the forefather of national parks, former President Teddy Roosevelt. My game is called Teddy Roosevelt: 'Survive. 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 in America's national parks during his presidency. And it's a survival game where you are Teddy Roosevelt and you just get to like run hog wild and like razzle bears to the ground and just be a badass because Teddy Roosevelt was amazing. And I would play that game. That's my suggestion to you, sir. Teddy Roosevelt, survive.
And his ultimate weapon is just a big stick, right?
Yes, he speaks softly and he carries a big stick.
That's
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
And like his finisher is just like you get to pick a line that talks shit about Taft.
Yeah.
That fuck didn't even get out of a tub, like something like that.
You know what's funny about Teddy Roosevelt? Sorry, I'm a bit of an American history buff. I've read a biography for every U.S. president.
I too have read a book.
Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt would sometimes just piss off from being president and just disappear for months at a time and just go walk America in national park areas. He really loved outdoors. And back then the president was sort of just like a figurehead. He did some stuff, but he didn't have to work every day. And so he was just, people would be like, where's the president? And be like, yeah, I don't know. He's off camping somewhere. And he would just be gone for like 3 months during his presidency.
Wow.
So badass.
Yeah.
Such a badass. There you go.
I want a Souls game where you're Teddy Roosevelt and you're hunting down you're hunting down and like the subtitle is like Teddy Roosevelt hunting the most dangerous game, and it's people. Like he's a bounty hunter. He's going to these national parks. He's here to hunt the ultimate sport. There you go. And again, he's just talking shit about Taft. That's all he's doing. He's like, I'm going to create my own party, and it's going to be great. It's a bull moose, and you're fighting literally the whole quest of this game. You're trying to find that bull moose. People will say it doesn't exist. You're like, no, I've seen it with my own eyes. You're here to prove it. There you go. Kyle, what's your game?
I don't know. I just really would like another Firewatch.
I want
pretty much
something.
it.
Yeah, I just want something wholesome. You know, something
Because
nice.
all my other thoughts would be like a bit problematic. I don't want a shooter in the national park.
Why not?
Like a first-person shooter. What are you gonna? What? They're invading an army in the park?
Yogi the bear.
Or, oh, you're gonna kill the animals that are protected in the park?
What if you are an animal and you're killing humans?
Oh well, you know what? That changes the game.
Yeah,
that changes the game.
about.
You're like man-eater,
In that
but
case,
you're a
let's
bear.
make it an RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call the game Take It Back. And Wilderness Reclaimed.
Ooh.
Oh, I
All
like
right,
it.
there we go.
I like
and
it.
it's you play an animal and you have to just like take back areas that have been occupied by humans by murdering them all.
Or the right to bear arms is the subtitle.
God damn it. So stupid.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, I blew
It's
a
just
gasket
the Jack Bear on the cover art. That's it.
Jacked bear. And it's like super ripped.
Yeah.
Una writes in, hey guys, hope you guys are doing well. First, I want to say the curse of redheads being cute are still there. Oh geez. And now you can add men in suits to that. Ooh wee, Aaron Way. I salute you. Okay. My question is this week, what are your favorite running gags / tropes in games? I was thinking on this as I am always playing JRPGs. And what's the VM?
Visual novels.
Visual novels, okay. That have their own gags and tropes to them. So I throw the ball over to you. What are your favorite gags and tropes in games? Una, I thank you for writing in. I want to say this. I am now truly obsessed with oh my god, what's it Judy from Cyberpunk? I'm like, I feel like I'm Una. I have fallen in love with this virtual character. I'm showing everybody their photo in my wallet.
Game.
What's that?
I hope you play a woman in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I have a female V. I'm progressive.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that progressive? Now that's the bar.
I don't know. It's whatever Twitter wants to say. Here I am. Yeah, it's
all right.
female. I got a female V.
I played a
And,
male V and I was like, Judy's my type, and then she's like, nah, and I'm like,
You're not my type,
bro.
But like Pan Am. Let's get real.
Yeah. She's too cool for me. I'm a nerd.
You think
man.
I think she's too annoying. I would be honest. She annoyed the crap out of me.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe she annoyed the crap out of you because you're a nerd and you don't get along with cool people.
That's probably it.
Yeah. I felt the same way. Like, I'm like, you're cool, you ride a bike, but like, I just want somebody who is good at computers, you know?
That's true.
And Judy don't want to talk to me unless you download a mod, which you can.
And that's a whole
certainly
other.
can.
Yeah. Kyle, what's a gag / trope in a game?
It's not like, I think it's just a game mechanic that I always notice that I think it's funny, but I'm used to it. It's like any game that has a stamina bar, like the moment it gets depleted, the character waits like what 2 seconds, and then they can sprint full speed again. Like that's
And then go for it. Yeah.
just a little weird to me. It always has been,
Sure.
because that's not real life.
Honestly,
At least as a large and in charge person as I am, that's not real life.
And like, forget stamina bar. Just think about your knee bar. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? I got a short jog and my knees are killing me. My thing is, like, when you're shooting guns in games, it's always the same reload like thing. Like it's never like jams. You're like, ah, shit, I gotta cock this back. How does this thing, like, you know what I mean? That's a trope.
Perfectly do it.
Yeah.
One
Always perfect.
Yeah.
Active reloads, that's wild. Your gun shoots stronger because you reloaded it faster. That shouldn't be a thing that exists, but it does. What about you? What about you, Chad?
I generally, I have to preface this every time I say this because people don't seem to understand. I love JRPGs and visual novels. I play them a lot. I do not like tropes. And the tropes are one of the things that annoys me about both of those games. If I had to choose one that, is less annoying to me than the others, I'd say the power of friendship being the thing that can destroy the evil. I think that is stupid, but a very endearing trope. And so if I had to choose one, it's that.
You're not a fan of the amnesiac main character? Protagonist?
Hate it. And I'm a tabletop game master too. And every once in a while, especially new players, they'll make a character and be like, I have amnesia. I don't remember my past. And I'll be like, you know what? You're dead. I don't even want to deal with you right now. This is the laziest thing, most unoriginal thing, you edgelord. Go away. So yeah, I don't like tropes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then like the heroes that don't speak, like Link, come on, man.
Hate it.
Come on.
Yeah.
Just all you got is hit. Like you can't work another syllable in there.
How much did that voice actor get paid?
Oh,
per session.
Hopefully not more than $1.92. Like some guy off the street. Hey, can you make guttural noises?
Yeah.
Yeah, high pitched ones. Break a vase. Let's test this out. Yeah. Jinx93 writes in, just like you can too, remember that. I'm going through a run of shit at the moment. Oh my goodness. And finding it hard to focus on much at all, let alone gaming. Is there a game / gaming memory that have helped you through a tough time? Gaming memory. It's a good question.
I mean,
I've got a great one.
Yeah, go ahead, Travis.
You should play Monster Prom.
Okay.
It is a dating sim. You can play it. I think it's now on PlayStation and Xbox if you're a console person, but I originally played it on Steam. It is a game where you are a monster and you date other monsters. And if you are having, I'm trying, maybe I'm reading into your story, but it sounds like you're going through women trouble or relationship trouble. And if that's true, there's nothing better than giving into a 2D character's loving arms and finding comfort there. And so that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, Monster Prom's great.
Yeah, Monster Prom's awesome.
I think
the sequel, Monster Camp, and soon Monster Road Trip, which is coming out, I think, this month. So
okay, nice. We really hit something here.
Yeah, I like dating sims, bro. I hate to say it. They're good. They're good games.
To each his own.
Have you played any? I
played the one where your sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boyfriend dungeon.
That'll never get old to me. The bleeping. Can I get that? Can I just add that to my tech stack here? What is it?
Get a Go XLR Mini.
Oh, okay. So that's just that's what I thought you were doing. Yeah, I
pretty much patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. You get all these types of doodads and knickknacks. Yeah.
Cool.
Let's see. Like I think of like when I was a kid, like playing Halo 1 with like my brother and my best friend Ruben at the time, like playing Call of Duty on PS2 and like everybody's screen looking, but then claiming they're not. Handing your friend the Mad Catz N64 controller, them looking at you, you looking at them, knowing full well they got the short end of the stick on that deal. Those are the memories that I look back fondly of. When people are like, gaming's a waste of time. You could have climbed a mountain. It's like, no, shut up. You know, these memories are just as great as me climbing Mount Everest, you dumb idiot. Like, I don't care about that. So that's what I'm I'm thinking of the times that I've had, and even just like recently, my brother playing through The Last of Us and just hearing him talk about it. The first time he's ever played it, Travis, and just like gushing over it. Now understanding and us sharing that common bond. Like it's those type of things. It's also the reason why I love Star Wars so much. It's like every Wednesday I get to carve out an hour at a time with my brother. We watch it, we bond over it. Every time that there's a new Marvel movie, I'm bringing my best friend Amy. We're watching it and we're loving it. You know, so like that's the type of memory that I have with games and just entertainment as well. Is when you're sharing that love with another person. Who?
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most happiest of games, but The Walking Dead season 1 is always one that helped me out.
For some reason I thought you were just going to be like, the suffering, something
Yeah,
like that. Just like
exactly.
bring like a super hardcore brutal game.
No. But like, more recently, I mean, we've all gone through it. 2020 was super, super tough. So I think of like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think of Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Like really helped me escape when we needed to escape at every waking second when we were stuck at home. So I love those times with those games.
Absolutely. Great question, by the way, Jinx.
Yeah.
I love you. I hope you're doing well.
Yes.
Vadi Tatted writes in, yeah, I get to do the voice. I've been vindicated. 2-star review.
All right, dashboard confessional.
I don't understand that reference.
Oh, wow.
Like an old man. Devontae here. Listen, I've been hearing great things from Sony about your Sony Pony Express. Oh my God, they're listening? Mr. Jim Ryan himself? Keep trucking and keep up the great work. This week, I don't have a question, more of a statement for the Sony Pony Express. I know you've both been going through some work stress. Absolutely, I have. Anxiety. Absolutely, I have. Etc. I just wanted to say that's okay. As a 30-year-old male who suffers from panic disorder, anxiety, and depression, I completely understand. Life can bog you down. It can suck, but we pick ourselves back up and keep trucking. The community that you two have created, along with the amazing show, helps take my mind off the craziness of life. And I am here for the crazy voices. Yeah, the banter, the jokes of it all. The show feels absolutely authentic, real, and from the heart. I'll finish out by saying this. To anyone out there who suffers from anxiety, depression, it's completely okay. We're all in this together. And I love y'all. Happy gaming and shiny side up.
Love you too, Vontae. That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, and you know what? Shout out to this community because there's so many amazing people that I could go to. So like I go to Jose when I have some stress and I go, hey, listen, you can't charge me for this. I say this. I say it in good faith. I go, I know you're a therapist, but this one's on the house. And they're like, that's not how this works. I'm like, on the house. Here's my dilemma. So thank you. No, you guys are the reason why I keep making this show. We talked about some of that stresses, and honestly, the thing that makes me so much happier is when I see, again, like the 5-star reviews, they really help my mental state because sometimes you sound like you're talking into a void, or like when I'm getting really nice tweets and DMs when I second guess myself. That's amazing. Just seeing all the love and support that you guys have had towards the both of us when we're each going through our individual things. It's just amazing. It's why we truly have made the best community on the internet. Y'all are just utterly fantastic, and I love y'all very much. Except for Luke Lore, he sucks. And Chalk Capri, oh my God, what are those picks, man? Fantasy League, Jesus.
Oh my God.
Kyle, what nice thing would you like to say?
I just love everybody a whole lot, and I appreciate y'all very much, and I can't wait to meet some of you in real life for Extra Life in a few weeks, and it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, man. Gosh dang. What is it, November 5th? We're going to be raising a whole lot of money. Our was it last year we hit 28,000? We need to hit $38,000. Let's go make, kids' lives like Miles a whole lot better. So, yeah. That said, though, that's been all the questions this week on Sony Pony Express. That's been the trophy room. Travis, I want to thank you so much for jumping on, sharing your thoughts. I said this earlier when I was too tired from work and like the gray matter was not active. You are literally one of my favorite voices in gaming.
Thank you.
Your perspective is unlike anyone's out there. I often hear like there's always like this cliche with a lot of like podcasting or personalities. It's like you always have to have like this one hot take that's really weird. It's like, I like this really weird game no one else likes. Or like, I'm going to have this one take that's just obscure and that's going to define my personality. You, sir, come through things with a perspective that I never knew that I wanted so bad, if that makes any sense. Like when you talk, I'm just intrigued by that perspective of how you reach to that conclusion. And it's not in a try-hardy way, but it's in this truly authentic and different, I guess, different direction that I think a lot of us fail to reach that we want to reach so badly. So I guess that those were sentences that came together. I don't know if it worked, but
well, thank you. I mean, I take that as
fantastic to listen to.
I appreciate that. I mean, I think my opinions are come from the fact that I don't care what other people think about me, and I think everyone should do that. They should just be their honest self, and not worry about how they're perceived, or join a mob, or feel pressured by somebody else. That's what being a nerd is about to me. It's about everybody just like unabashedly loving the things that they're passionate about, even when the consequences from society would be bad. That's what the identity of nerddom is. And so if you feel a certain way or you like a certain thing, be passionate about it. Don't hate on others for being passionate about the things that they're passionate about. And if you do that, people will see the real you, and the real you is probably interesting. And that would be my message to people, is just be yourself, and you know, don't care, don't sweat too much if people bristle at who you are, and they often do, because I'm a weird guy, but that's okay, I think.
I mean, I bristle a lot. Yeah, when I said all those nice things, I meant the complete opposite.
Yeah, for sure. Some people
Travis,
do bristle at me. That's fine.
Where can people find you, my man?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at TagGuyTravis. You can read all of my stuff on IGN.com. Yeah, I'm on the Season Gaming Show Bitcast on Sundays, The Last Word on Thursdays, and yeah, you can see me around.
Ooh, Kyle, is there anything you'd like to spotlight before we head on out of here?
Myself, Mr. K Stuff on Twitter, PSN, all that jazz. If you want to go check out all the latest and greatest, I'm stealing from this show, that tagline, for indie games, go check out 61indie.com. That's SIXONEINDIE. Podcast services, wherever you listen to them. This weekend on twitch.tv/61indie, we are doing our 24-hour Extra Life stream. So come hang out, donate if you can, share it around, and let's do some good.
Ooh, and you can find me over at Mr. Babbitt. You can find the show over at PS Trophy Room on Twitter. You can rate us 5 stars and get a chance to win a digital collector's edition of God of War Ragnarok on PlayStation 5. And or you could donate, double your chances, up the ante, $10 or up over at Extra Life, link down below, and you get a chance to win the God of War Collector's Edition with Thor's hammer. And I'm going to do the sound effect again. And that's me catching it. Again,
someone left the sprinkler on again. It's weird.
It's great. Link down below to all those things. Again, 5 stars on Spotify. Tweet at us so we know it's you. And if you're a patron, if you are a previous reviewer, you are entered free of charge. Look at that. Look at how that is. All right. So with all that said, and with all that out of the way, everybody, keep your wits about you. Keep hunting and keep playing PlayStation. See you guys.
Bye. Love you.